In the world of Naruto, there is a prophecy that foretells the coming of a great dragon god who will bring peace and prosperity to the land. However, what if this dragon god was neglected and abandoned? What if he was left to fend for himself in a world that was not ready for him? This is the story of Naruto Uzumaki, the neglected dragon god. Konohagakure no Sato 12 am. Our story starts here from the Namikaze Uzumaki household. In the garden we could see two red-haired girls who are trying to climb up a tree and are failing horribly. Their parents were helping them to do the tree climbing exercise correctly. All in all, this is a picture of a perfect family. Well, why wouldn't it be? It is the family of the 4th Hokage Minato Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, the Yellow Flash, and Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, the Red Death. The red-haired girl is Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. She is a mirror reflection of her mother Kushina, just like her younger sister Narumi. They are spending their time with great joy like nothing could ever happen. But unbeknownst to them, we see a boy looking at the family from the window from his room with a look of sadness on his face. The boy had blonde hair similar to Minato but a little more blonde. I was none other than Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. He is the oldest son of Minato and Kushina. Now stop. I know that you have questions to why he is not with them. Well, that started a while back. Flashback 6 years ago, with half of the village destroyed in front of us, civilians trained to repair the damaged buildings and shinobis are helping them with heavy lifting. The village was in a state of panic and chaos because just a week ago the village was attacked by the 9-tailed demon fox. But luckily for them, their savior the 4th Hokage saved them by sealing the demon fox inside his own children, Naruko and Narumi, and then announced the children as the heroes of the village for keeping the fox at bay. Flashback end. Flashback 1 year ago, Narumi and Naruko are very excited because today was their birthday, October 10. But that wasn't all the reason that they were excited, because today was the day that they will get training from their parents. The evening came and there was a huge party for the heroes of the village. Everyone from shinobi to civilians all were celebrating. In these celebrations nobody saw a sad boy sitting around the corner. The reason for the boy's sadness is that his parents said no to train him with his siblings, and everybody forgot that it is his birthday also. He was not upset because of other, no, it was because of his so-called parents. Every year it's the same. When his family goes out for dinner or other things, they never take his suggestions into considerations. Flashback end. Naruto was looking out of the window and saw them and glared at every one of them. As he left from outside of his room and walked into training field by the garden. When he got there, he saw his sisters attempting to try to climb the tree again. Good job, Narumi, but next time just make sure that you focus more of your chakra and balance it onto the tree, said Minato. Okay dad, here I go, shouted Narumi, adding more chakra to her feet, running up the tree only to fall down again. Good job Narumi, you got a bit further than last time, Minato said, sounding happier. HMPH. I bet that I can get higher than you, Narumi. Abayo, shouted Naruko, making everyone laugh at their daughter-sister antics. Hey 2-cent, said a soft voice from Naruto, making the laughter die down. Would you and Kasen also train me now? Naruto said with a little hope in his voice. Minato's smile turned into a frown. Naruto, I'm sorry, but I cannot train you at the moment. You will have to wait until the academy so that they will train you. But 2-cent, you could just at least send a clone to help me with the basics, said Naruto with tears coming to his eyes. Minato let out a frustrated sigh. Naruto, we have told you will have to wait until we enroll you into the academy. But Naruto. Go to your room now, he said, raising his voice, losing his patience. As Naruto hair shadowed his eyes and with a yes sir he ran to his room, but not missing the snickering that came from both of his sisters that made Naruto clench his teeth and gripped his fist tight until his knuckles turned white. Time skip night time. Naruto was walking back from the kitchen after finishing his dinner, not even being acknowledged by his own family. Well, at least they didn't forget to feed me this time, Naruto mumbled as he walked to his room. Naruto entered his bedroom that only consisted of a bed and a shelf that hosted a single book. But this was no ordinary book. This was Naruto's first gift that Naruto has ever got from anyone. Flashback, the 5-year-old Naruto was sitting alone in his room while a party was going on downstairs. He was sitting there crying. He felt alone and empty. His parents wasn't even noticing him at all, it was like they hated him. But Naruto quickly shrugged those thoughts off and continued looking at the ceiling. He jumped up when he felt a presence enter the room and was slightly on guard. Who's there? Naruto called out frantically. Boo, said a female voice, yelled, making the blonde scream. Ha ha ha, you should have seen your face, Gaki, she said, laughing. Rin. Naruto yelled with a cute pout. What are you doing here? The party is downstairs, he said, pointing to the floor. I know, but it's also your birthday too, she said, ruffling his hair. Yeah. So it's not like they are looking for me anyway, Naruto said, sadly looking down. Here, she said, making Naruto look up. What is this? Naruto said, looking up. This is one of my favorite books that always liked since I grew up in the orphanage. Really, you're giving it to me, he said, smiling for the first time in a while. Thank you, he said repeatedly while hugging her tight with tears coming from his eyes. You're welcome Gaki, take care, she said sappeering, but not before kissing his cheek making him turn bright red. The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Ninja. Naruto said opening the book and started reading. Flashback end. Naruto smiled and opened his book and started reading. He was brought out of his reading when his door slammed open to find his twin sisters glaring at him. Oh shit, Naruto thought as he hid the book behind his back, hoping that they didn't see it. Hey loser. What do you got there, said Naruto smirking at him when she sees him tense up. Nothing, Naruto said backing up into the corner of the wall. Well then we will just have to find out ourselves, Narumi said rushing at him and knocked him over grabbing the book out of his hand. Well, Narumi said waving the book in his face. Give it back. Naruto yelled running at her head butting her making her stumble back. Narumi felt a warm liquid on her nose and whipped it off only to see that it was her blood. You will pay for that, she said activating her nine tails power making her eyes go slit. She rushed at Naruto punching him in the stomach, making him double over. What is going on here? Yelled angry Kushina followed behind a scared Minato. Well, Kas and me and Naruto were playing and Naruto came into our room while we weren't looking and stole a book off of our desk, she said fake crying. Kuhina and Minato gasped, then an angry look appeared on their face. Young man, is this true? Kushina said, a red hair flowing dangerously behind her. No, Kas and they are lying, they stole. But Naruto was cut off by a punch to the gut by Minato. Naruto, do you know what you've done? You could have seriously angered your sisters by making them use the Kyuubi power. What do you have to say for yourself, young man? Kushina said angrily. Nothing, Naruto said in a low tone. What? I couldn't hear you. I apologize for stealing your book, Naruto said in a monotone voice with his hair shadowing his eyes. Get to bed, Minato said with a disappointment look on his face. And with that they all left the room and closed the door leaving him in a dark cold room. But Naruto looked up as something strange happened. His normal blue azure eyes were gone. His new eyes were cold blue with blue fire around them and blue tears. Naruto looked up with pure and utter hatred. Think of this as Naruto. Maybe it's about time I leave this accursed village. He said standing up and balling up his fist until blood drew from them both. To get stronger, Naruto said getting in his bed and drifting off to sleep, not even recognizing what legendary power that he just showed. Scene change. Naruto woke up in a strange place. It was like he was in a cave. So you have finally come, chosen one. A deep and thunderous voice that came from Naruto says. Who are you? Naruto said scared out of his wits. No need to fear me, human. My name is Ragnarok, the king of the mighty dragon race. Said the figure appearing from nowhere by Naruto. How the hell can I not be scared? You're a huge ass dragon. Naruto yelled making Ragnarok chuckle. Young one, do you know the power, you posse? What power? Naruto asked confused to what the dragon was saying. I am saying that you have unlocked the power that hadn't been used or seen since the Sage of Six Paths, he said making Naruto jaw drop. So you're saying that I have a legendary power that was used by the person who created chakra? He asked only to get a nod in return. Oh yeah, I am awesome, Naruto yelled jumping around making Ragnarok chuckle at his childlike behavior. So how do I learn this awesome power? This power cannot be learned alone, you will need guidance. Ragnarok said. Oh, Naruto said disappointingly. Well, my Pa Minato and Kushina will not let me train with them, they are too busy training their precious children, Naruto said, speaking with disgust and anger. Who said that I was talking about those fools? Ragnarok said making Naruto yet again confused. What do you mean, Ragnarok? Naruto asked genuinely confused. Ragnarok smirks and then said. I will be the one to overlook your training, Naruto. Ragnarok said making Naruto stunned for a bit and then tears welled up in his eyes. Thank you, sensei, please train me well, Naruto said bowing. Ha, that is great. But now, he said making Naruto halt. I will give you this dragon summoning contract. Now bite your finger enough to draw blood and go through these signs. He said showing Naruto the hand signs. 5 minutes later, after Naruto finished learning the hand signs, Ragnarok gave his the summoning contract. Ragnarok, who is this? He said pointing to the name on the scroll. This is my previous summoner Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the legendary sage of Six Path, he said smirking at seeing Naruto jaw drop. So am I, Naruto said, but got cut off by Ragnarok. Yes, you are his true successor for the Nidayume dragon summoner. Oh hell yes. Naruto yelled smiling. Now use you summoning that I taught you. Alright, Naruto said biting his fingers and going through hand signs. Summoning jutsu, Naruto said and summoned a huge dragon, but not bigger than Ragnarok. Hello young master, my name is Veldora, how many serve you, said Veldora. Okay first, said Naruto gaining their attention. Please do not call me young master, my name is Naruto. And second, I do not wish for your kind to serve for me. But we could work as friends, he said with a bright smile, leaving them speechless and heart melted. So this was the prophecy that the old sage spoke of. In tear-string, Ragnarok thought, smelling so pure. But his eyes are shown that of how he has gone. He must have gone through a lot. Whoever shall made him feel like this, I will obliterate them and their whole village. Voldora thought. In the Namikaze estate. Minato. Shayaking, what the hell was that? Minato said, actually scared for some reason. Kushina. Minato, honey, are you okay? She said, worried. Minato. Yeah, I'm fine. Paperwork. The Kage's worst enemy. You bastard, you're wishing for my death. Huh, well, it's not gonna happen, Minato said, looking out the window at the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower. Complete silence. Back with Naruto. Okay, I accept, let's be friends, Voldora said, tickling Naruto on his stomach with his tail, making Naruto laugh. Hahaha, stop that tickles, Naruto said. Well then, Naruto, we will meet again, he said, and with that he poofed away. Listen here, Naruto, we will leave this village tonight on your birthday, is that alright? Naruto looked down because he won't be able to see Hiruzen and Tucci and Rin for a while. Yes, it is alright, but will I be able to see you again? Of course, Naruto, just use those hand signs in reverse and you will be at our main land. And with a nod, Naruto turned around and faded from the mindscape. He is so much like you, Hagoromo, it's incredible, he thought. Scene change. Naruto opened his eyes to see that he was back inside his normal room again. Well, Naruto said as he looked at the calendar to see that today was October 10. Tonight is the night that Naruto Uzumaki Namek Senjutsu forged his own destiny. Scene change. Morning time. Naruto was taking his last stroll around the village, not even being recognized by the villagers. But he did get a few good looks from the older and younger women around the area. But there were at least a few people who recognized him. But that was good because tonight he would be able to get out of Konoha easier. But there was one more thing that he needed to do before leaving. He still needed to visit the ones that he hold dear. His only precious people. I'm Skip Ramen Stand. Naruto, my boy, how have you been? Said an old man behind the counter who gave Naruto a warm smile. Hello Tucci Jiji, said Naruto to the man now known as Tucci. Look at see who has come to give us a visit, he said, smirking, knowing how much his daughter fancies towards our young blonde. Naruto. A 13-year-old girl known as yelled, running from back of the kitchen and giving Naruto a tight hug. Why haven't you been coming to the ramen shop lately, she said, pouting a little. Gamensai, he said, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. With his famous grin making cheeks turn red. How does he always do that, she thought. Hey Chan, are you okay? Your face is red, he said, putting his forehead to hers, making her blush harder. Tucci just chuckled at this display. Okay Naruto, what would you like to order today? Tucci said. Well, I would be gone for a while, so it's better if I could pig out while I'm still in the village, Naruto thought. Alright old man, 21 bowls of miso ramen, I am beating my record whether my body likes it or not. Declared Naruto, unknowingly drawing more attention to the ramen stand. Okay, coming right up. Tucci said, tying his apron tight and putting on his headband. Time skip. 30 minutes later, there were cheers all around one area. That area was none other than the ramen shop. Go 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 go. People shouted as they watched a little boy no older than 7 years old eat more bowls than Akimichi and is on his last dish. After Naruto finished his last bowl, he slammed it on the table, making the crowd go wild with cheering, while Tucci was behind the counter with a proud shit-eating grin. This kid sure is something, he brought me and more customers, Tucci thought, with a big sack of Ryu with a money bag in his arms. As the crowd dispersed, Naruto hopped out of his seat and went to the front counter to pay Tucci, but before he could reach in his pocket to pay Tucci. But a hand stopped in front of his face. Naruto, my boy, no need, this is on the house, Tucci says. But there's no need, Naruto, think of this as a birthday gift, he said with a chuckle. Thank you, Naruto said with a happy smile, but deep down he was very sad that he won't be able to see them for a couple of years. As Naruto ran up to Tucci and then gave them both a bone-crushing hug. Naruto then released them and gave one more thank you as he turned away and walked off. Tucci felt something was off. But he just shrugged those thoughts off and headed to the back of the shop. Scene change. Knock, knock, as an old man opened the door to see his favorite mop of blonde hair. Hey Ajiji, Naruto said, jumping onto his surrogate grandfather. Unlike a certain pervert. But back to the story. Ah yes, I've been meaning to give you this, Naruto-kun said Hiruzen as he handed Naruto a scroll. This scroll contains chakra control and see-though A rank jutsu. But please be careful, Naruto-kun said Hiruzen as he was given a bone-crushing hug from Naruto. Thank you Jiji, Naruto said as he turned around and ran. With a sigh, Hiruzen turned around. Please be safe, Naruto-kun, he thought before he closed the door. Scene change. Apartment complex. Naruto knocked on Rin's door twice before he heard a voice. Coming, said a female voice that he knew all too well. The door opened to show Rin Nahara. Happy birthday, Naruto-kun, she said, wrapping him up in a big hug. Hey Rin-chan, he said with his famous smile, making her cheeks blush red. What the hell, she thought, but quickly shoved her blush down. Oh right, I almost forgot, she said reaching in her pouch and pulled out a scroll. Here you go, Naruto-kun, she said, handing him the scroll. What is this, Naruto asked curiously. These are weapons for you when you start the academy, she said with a grin. Naruto was ecstatic, but he just didn't show it out in public. But he did something that was unexpected to her. He put his hand to his ear and signaled for her to do the same thing, to which she didn't bend down to his height as he whispered into her ear. "I love you," he said, kissing her on the cheek and disappearing in a poof of smoke. Rin's whole body was completely red. "Oh my god, I think I fell in love with Naruto-kun," she thought as she went back into the apartment to think about the blonde. Time skip night time. Tonight was the celebration of the twins' birthday, not even knowing that they were missing a little blonde-haired kid. "Pants check," said a voice. "Shirts check, shoes check, new kunai pouch check, Gigi scroll check, ramen check." The boy looked down and cowled, find the last pouch filled with ramen. "Oh god damn it," yelled Naruto as he threw the pen down that he was writing with. Sigh, "I forgot to pick up the ramen." "Well, whatever." "Oh yeah, almost forgot the letter." But Naruto began thinking that he should at least give them one more chance. As he climbed out of the window and hid his presence and looked through the Namikaze estate living room where everyone was. Ting ting ting, as there was the sound of a spoon hitting a wine glass. "Hello everyone, I am glad that you could be present to my kid's 7th birthday party. But without further ado, I would like to announce that Naruto will be the heir to the Uzumaki Namikaze clan." As there were cheers and claps were going on everywhere around the compound. "And my last child Narumi will be the heir to the Senju clan," Minato said, and again there were cheers and applauses going around the compound. Well, if you would look outside you could see a angry no, he wasn't even on that level of anger, he was absolutely fucking livid. "Those," Naruto said in a whisper. "Those bastards," he said, cursing internally, unknowingly unlocking the 2 Tomo Sharingan in each eye as he blurred away in great speed inside his room and grabbed his bag. But not before leaving a letter to the Hokage family. As Naruto went through reverse hand signs, he had a determined look in his eyes as it made him look even more fierce with his Sharingan activated. "Mark my word. I will become the strongest ninja to ever walk this world," he said before disappearing with a poof. Time skip 1 year later. Minato, Kushina, Jiraiya and Tsunade was in the Hokage office going over the training of Naruto and Narumi train. But they were soon knocked out of their thoughts when they heard a knock on his door. "You may enter," said Minato. And entered his door was no one other than the Sandaime Hokage Hiruzen. "Minato, where is my grandson?" Hiruzen said in a stern tone. Everyone looked at Hiruzen like he magically grew a second head. Sensei, WHT are you talking about? What grandson?" Tsunade said. "Your son Naruto," Hiruzen said, narrowing his eyes at Minato. "Who is Naruto?" they all thought. But after a couple of seconds everyone's eyes grew wide. "Naruto?" they all yelled in synchronism. "Minato, where is our Naruto? I haven't seen him since," Kushina said, tearing up. "I don't know," Minato said, slumping into his chair. "Calm down everyone." Jiraiya said. "He obviously is at the compound." Jiraiya. "Grab onto me," Minato said as they all grabbed his shoulder, disappeared in a yellow flash. As Narumi and Naruto was just walking inside the compound, they walked upstairs. Naruto remembered something. "Hey Narumi," Naruto said, getting her attention. "Wasn't someone here before?" she said as she stood in front of a door. "What do you mean, Naruto?" said Narumi. "There was someone here in this room," she said, reaching the doorknob and twisting it open only to find a blank room. This room was nothing but fully white and plain. There was just a white bed with a plain sheet and a couple of D-rank straws on top. She then looked to see a 4-year-old picture of a boy who had the brightest smile, which made her blush a bit, but the pictures had 4 burned out marks in them. "Hey Narumi, looks," he said, running to her sister. "What is this, Naruto?" said Narumi. "Look at this," Naruto said, making Narumi also blush at the little boy. "Who is this?" Narumi said, still blushing a bit. "Well, he kinda looks like dad a bit if you would only remove the whiskers," they both said, confused to why some look so similar to their father. "Hey Narumi, but she was cut off as a yellow flash appeared in the middle of the room. "Narumi, Naruto, have you seen your brother?" Kushina and Minato said frantically. Narumi and Naruto looked confused at that statement. "What do you mean, brother, dad?" Narumi said, puzzled. Naruto then got a thought in her head. It couldn't be, could it? Naruto was psyched, which didn't go unnoticed by them. "What do you mean, Naruto? Do you know where he is?" Kushina said, scared mixed with panic. "I don't know, but I found this in one of the rooms," she said, showing the picture to them. After analyzing the picture, Minato and Kushina was feeling the guilt. In a burst of speed, Minato ran up to Naruto's room and slammed open the door to see that it was just plain and looked like it hasn't been cleaned in a while. Minato around trying to find anything that he could. When he reached the drawer and opened it to see a note and flashed back to the living room. "I found 2 papers in Naruto's drawer." Narumi was still confused. "Who is Naruto?" Narumi said, confused. Naruto's eyes widened. "Dad, does that mean?" "Yes," she said solemnly. "The boy in the picture is your elder brother Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju." "What?" came from the response of both twins. "Wait, I think I remember now," said. She then remembered the incident of what happened about the book thing. As the guilt started to crawl into her heart. "Minato, what does the papers say?" Kushina said as she had a feeling in her stomach to just throw the papers away from what was inside. As they all gathered around as Minato read the note. It says, "Dear Hokage family. If you don't remember me or do remember me, then I don't give a flying fuck, you could all burn in hell for all that I could care. But that is not the issue today. I am leaving this village for some time. Maybe even till 20 years. As there was gasps around the room, nah, just pulling your leg. But back to business, I am leaving this disgraceful family. And you of all Kushina should know how we Uzumakis do not turn back on family. Pathetic. Naruto wrote, but they could feel the venom in the word. Now if you found this message in 20 days or less, then maybe I could forgive yo. Oh, who the hell are we kidding? I am sure that you found this in about 1 year after I left the village. Since I'm not a clan member of any family or clan, then I am legally disowned from all of the clans, so I am free to do as I wish. So I could leave the village as I am not in shinobi. Hey, your call, not mine. Also, as for my so-called grandparents, just tip over and turn to dust already. You're past your age already. Hahaha. Also, don't look for me, Becca. I have been gone since October 10. Oops. Sincerely, your mistake, Naruto. As Minato had a bit of tears going out of his eyes as he was on the ground trying to comfort his wife, while Tsunade and Jiraiya tried to comfort Naruto and Narumi. Minato, what do we do about Naruto? He is gone, she said, still crying. I don't know, Kushina. Sigh. Minato, wasn't there a second letter? Yeah, Minato said as he pulled it out and read it. It says that it's dedicated to Rin Nahara. Why would that be? Minato said, confused as he flashed away to the office. In Minato office, he ordered his Anbu to get Rin. After 5 minutes, Rin appeared in Minato office. Minato sensei, I have something to ask you, have you seen? But she was cut off as Minato told her to grab his shoulder. As she grabbed his shoulder, confused, they disappeared into the living room. What's going on? Rin asked. It's sniff about sniff, Naruto, Kushina said through sobs. Rin eyes widened. Where is he? I haven't seen him since his last birthday. Rin yelled, scared for her favorite little blonde. He sigh. Read this, Minato said as he handed her the first paper. Rin read the paper and slumped to her knees as tears flowed freely out of her eyes. Naruto, why? She whispered, still crying. She then turned to them all with an angry expression. Why? How could you all? She yelled as they looked down in shame. Sigh. Rin, there is a note for you, said Minato. She quickly read the letter and blushed a little before wiping her tears away. What does it say? Kushina said, seeing her mood does a full 380. It's between me and Naruto, she said coldly. They all were taken aback by hearing the coldness in her voice. She sighed and gave Minato the letter. Here, read it, she said. As Minato looked over the paper, he suddenly felt a bit of pride in his son. Damn it, what does it say? Gaki yelled Tsunade. With a sigh, Minato read it. Dear Rin, I'm sorry that I had to leave so soon, but if you found this, that means that those people have just found these papers. Trust me, I will be back and more developed. If you catch my drift. Wink wink, remember that kiss and remember it well, because just imagine what will happen when I do it all over your body, down to every spot, in every single place until we get to the main course. I will have you begging and screaming my name in pure and utter ecstasy. Implore. Until we meet again, Rin. Sincerely, your only one and only Naruto. As everyone was blushing madly. Oh yeah, he's definitely my grandson, Jiraiya thought. Well, that caught me off guard, said a blushing Kushina. Where in the hell did that Gaki learn all of those exotic words, and from a 7-year-old? Of all people, said a blushing Tsunade. But everyone suddenly snapped out of their thoughts when a little spike of killing intent from Naruto and Narumi. Naruto and Narumi were intently glaring at Rin, who for some reason had a smirk on her face. What the hell are you smirking at? Aren't you too old for Naruto-kun? Sneered Naruto, who was glaring at Rin, surprising everyone except Narumi, who only nodded in agreement. Rin looked at her for a few seconds and responded back, but still with the same smirk. What, are you jealous or something? Are you mad that Naruto-kun isn't paying attention to a little girl like you, said Rin, whose smirk got wider as she saw the twins' glare got more intense. Shut up, you old hag, I am sure Ani-chan will pick a younger girl over old hag any day. Yelled Narumi, still glaring at Rin, who don't seem to be affected in the least at all. Oh really, then where is your name on the paper? Then Rin said as she got in a thinking position. Oh, that's where it is. Nowhere, Rin said, laughing, making them both rush at Rin. But before they could get far, they was stopped by chakra chains from Kushina. That is enough, you two, G to your rooms now. Yelled Kushina with her red hair flowing dangerously behind her back. As they both clenched their fist and gritted their teeth before giving their mother a nod and walking upstairs to their room, but not before sending a glare to Rin. As the twins left, Rin turned back to the rest of the adults in the room. If that is all, may I leave, Hokage-sama, Rin said, looking away from Minato. Minato let out a heavy sigh before dismissing her. Yes, Rin, you are dismissed, he said, as she nodded and disappeared with a poof of smoke. Minato, Kushina said, still teary-eyed. Kushina, it is okay, I'm sure Naruto will still forgive us, but we had to train the childs of prodigy, he said, hugging the now crying Kushina, who just passed out in Minato arms from all of the crying. Father, Minato said with as Jiraiya turned to him. Wasap Gaki, Jiraiya said, looking at Minato. I will send out my best shinobi seer team, can you go with them please? I know that I haven't been the best father when it come to Naruto, but please just find him, Minato said, his voice breaking and tears slid from his eyes. Jiraiya only sighed and then smiled. Of course I know that I haven't been able to spend time with my only grandson, but it was only necessary to help them to learn the power of the Kyuubi. Sigh. Yes, I understand, Father, Minato said, looking down. Jiraiya walked up to Minato and put a hand on his shoulder. Son, I'm sure that Naruto will come around. How about this, Jiraiya said as Minato looked up. When Naruto comes back to the village, he will be the leader of the Uzumaki or Namikaze side branches. Are you sure, Father? Yes, Jiraiya said. We will train him in the side branches lower to Jutsu and Ninjutsu styles, so that he could assist Naruko and Narumi. Mother, Father, I will see you later, Minato said as he disappeared in a yellow flash. He is just like he was as a kid, said Tsunade with a sad smile. Why is it Tsunaheim, said Jiraiya, wrapping his arms around Tsunade. It's just Naruto, I haven't even talked to him since he was around 4 years old, she said as a guilty feeling started to open up in her stomach. Calm down, Tsunaheim, I'm sure that Naruto will understand, he is our grandson, you know, Jiraiya said, calming her down a bit. I truly hope so, she said, whispering. Hokage office, Anbu. Minato barked out. Hi, Lord Hokage. Send me my best Hyuga and Inuzuka trackers along with Itachi Uchiha, Obito Uchiha, and Kakashi Hatake. A.N. It's author here, I'm just letting you know that Obito never got crushed by the rock in this fic. Author out. Hi, Lord Hokage. The Anbu said as they disappeared without a trace. 5 minutes later, in the Hokage office, Minato was sitting patiently in front of his ninja with a sad and self-hatred look on his face, but he still had his emotions in check. Yes, Lord Hokage, you called a teen who looked to be in his teens with silver gravity-defying hair with a dark blue face veil mask, wearing a black sleeveless shirt with matching tall gloves and a white wrap on the left bicep, a red Anbu tattoo on the right shoulder, a gray flak jacket and matching gauntlets, dark blue pants with matching wraps over the shins, a white wrap over the right thigh and a pair of black open-toe shoes. Listen up, Minato said with his voice that demanded authority. I want you all to search for my son Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, he said as they all looked confused. Lord Hokage, you only have 2 daughters, said one of the Anbu. That made Minato eyes widen, before they narrowed at the Anbu, who started to get nervous and stepped back. Minato-sensei, he's right, you only have 2 daughters, said Kakashi. Damn it, I am such an idiot. Minato said, mentally cursing. Minato let out a soft sigh before looking up to them. I do have a son, he has, unfortunately left the village some time ago, he said, looking down in shame. Obito and Kakashi stepped up and they seemed to be shaking. Minato, why, you can't be serious, said Obito as he was looking at his sensei with wide eyes. How did he even get through the gates? We have sensors. It's impossible for people to get in or out. Sai, that's why I'm assembling this team to find my son. Kakashi, you are in charge, Minato said as his eyes looked dull. Sai, yes, Lord Hokage, Kakashi said as they all disappeared. As Minato got out of his chair and walked to the window. I'm sorry, Naruto, what always Minato could say as a lone tear fell from his eye. Scene change, Dragon World, poof. As the smoke cleared up, it showed a child who looks to be around 7 years old with blonde hair and the deepest azure blue eyes that could rival a sapphire. The child wore a plain white shirt with a Uzumaki symbol in the middle, forest green shinobi pants, with a pair of dark blue toe-open sandals. THS child was no other than Naruto. Well, it seems that you have made it, Naruto, came a booming deep voice from the sky. Hey Ragnarok, down here, HEYY. Yelled Naruto, waving with his hands in the air. As Ragnarok landed, he noticed a huge grin on Naruto's face. Naruto, what seems to have you in a good mood, asked a curious Ragnarok. Oh, it's nothing, it's just a little promise that I made to someone, Naruto said, grinning ear from ear. Oh, and would this promise just so happens to be from one of your mates, Ragnarok said with a sly smirk, making Naruto blush a little. Shut up, hero dragon. Naruto yelled, making Ragnarok burst out laughing. Alright, little cub, hop on my back, he said, picking up Naruto and setting him on his back. Are you ready, Ragnarok said as Naruto gave a quick nod. And with that they were off. Year 1, 8-year-old Naruto. Naruto was working on increasing his chakra control because at the level he was at now, he could only summon a low-level dragon without getting worn out. At this level, Naruto only had the chakra pool of a low Chunin. Naruto found out what affinity that he had and was shocked to see that he had extremely potent affinity for all chakra natures. To say that he was superst would be an understatement. He was absolutely ecstatic. First, his wind element split in 4 parts and sliced the paper into 1,000 tiny pieces. His fire element engulfed the whole paper in a blue flame and burned it to cinders. His water element drenched the whole paper until it was so wet that it just ripped apart. His earth element turned into dust and blew away. His lightning element looked to be the strongest as it had lightning crackling around it and crumbled up. Year 2, 9-year-old Naruto. Ragnarok has increased Naruto training by tenfold. He has worked on his Dragon Tai Jutsu, Ninjutsu, and Jinjutsu. when Naruto was training so hard that he activated his Sharingan on a accident. Naruto was shocked to see that he had the Sharingan and he wasn't even an Uchiha, but Ragnarok told him that he was the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths, which did not calm him down, but made him more determined to protect his precious people. Year 3, 10-year-old Naruto. Naruto was roaming the dragon world until he heard a strange sound inside his head as it led him to a large glassy cave with multiple ice shards. Naruto didn't know what was happening, but he followed the sound. After the 30 minutes he found a huge broadsword that was a couple of inches taller than him. The sword stood about 5'4", while Naruto stood at 5'1". Naruto attempted to lift the sword, but only barely, so he dragged it out until he reached Ragnarok. Ragnarok then told him that the name of the sword was called the Buster Sword. It was an ancient sword that was used by the legendary Cloud Strife who defeated Sephiroth and avenged Aerith. As Naruto had an idea and picked up the blade and called out to it, "Buster Sword, come to me," as the sword slowly lifted up off of the ground and slowly made its way to Naruto. As soon as the sword reached Naruto's hand, it started to glow in a blue source of power. Naruto then let out a scream as the sword carved a tattoo onto Naruto's arm, making a black dragon. When Naruto picked up the sword, it felt light as a feather, as he felt the power that was running through his veins. Year 4, 11-year-old Naruto. As Naruto started to practice more Kenjutsu styles. Right now he was at the level of a Kenjutsu master. He was combat training with Eldora, who both were going all out until Naruto finally beat him. The dragons had taken a liking to Naruto because not only did he treat them with respect, he oftenly helped them with hunting most of the time. His chakra level was at the level of a mid-Kage, his Taijutsu was the level of low Kage, his Genjutsu level was at high Jonin, his Kenjutsu was at low Kage. Year 5, 12-year-old Naruto. Naruto has taken up Dragon Sage mode and mastering the Sharingan, making it evolve into the Eternal Mangekyo, with only hard and physical training that would make a regular person go insane. He also started to study up on the shinobi villages and history of the shinobi world. He masters over 700 different jutsus from C rank to S rank. Naruto has been working on his Mokuton and fusing more chakra natures into making more bloodlines. Naruto has a total of 3 Kekkei Genkai. 1. Naruto has his great-grandfather's bloodline, the Mokuton, by mixing 2 of his strong elemental earth and water. 2. Naruto has unlocked his final stage of the Sharingan, the Eternal Mangekyo. He is able to summon a giant blue Susanoo. He is able to use powerful Tsukiyomi with no drawbacks, Kamui and Amaterasu. 3. Naruto has created his own bloodline called Storm Release. By mixing his wind, water and lightning, he can even bend the weather itself. 4. Naruto has the Hyutin, which allows him to use the Ice Release Kekkei Genkai. Last year, 13-year-old Naruto. Naruto had taken up the last name of Strife. He looks like his exact copy of his hero Cloud Strife. Naruto was now standing at the height of 5'9". His hair has gotten longer over the past years. He had no baby fat on his face, making his face look more angular and handsome. Naruto has developed in many areas and is looking to fulfill a certain promise to a certain woman. Naruto has also started reading up on the human body, especially the female body. Even though he hated the bastard, he always kept an Iki Paradise book on him. Naruto wears a high-collar sleeveless Adigo shirt, black pants and boots, and has a shoulder-left pauldron. "Well, I guess that this is goodbye for now, my son," Ragnarok said with a prideful smile. "Yes, father, I will see you again," Naruto said with a sad smile. "Don't be too sad, cub, you could always come back here again," said Ragnarok. As every single dragon came to see Naruto's departure. "Goodbye everyone, I will be sure to visit again," yelled Naruto as he went through hand signs, and with a poof he was gone. "I am gonna miss the cub," said Veldora, shedding a few tears, making Ragnarok sweat drop. With Naruto and the village hidden in the leaves, word had got out of the first son of the 4th Hokage leaving the village, and the civilians and shinobi too feel ashamed that they didn't even recognize the similarities the boy had with their own hero child. But none of them were hit harder than the Hokage family. Kushina was an absolute wreck. She was crying non-stop. As Narumi and Naruto got more older, they started to feel more guilty about the loss of their brother, remembering that they would blame him when they would break things, so they had the determination to bring him back at all cost. Minato was in the same boat as Kushina, but he had to maintain his title as Hokage, but on the inside he was truly torn. Naruto was walking through the forest of Konoha, getting closer to the village. While he was walking, he was thinking of all of the things that happened to him. He was beaten by his family, ignored and neglected. He then thought about the meeting of dragons and how much strength he gained from his childhood. "Watch me, father, because I would be born as a legend." Time skip Konoha. Naruto, still in his cloak, was walking closer to the gate until 4 Anbu came down surrounding him. "Who are you and what are you doing in our village?" came a voice from one of the Anbu. "My apologies," said Naruto in a deep voice. "I only wished to speak to your Hokage," Naruto said in a calm tone. As the 4 Anbu looked at each other for a few seconds and then looked back to Naruto. "Drop your weapons," the Anbu said to Naruto. This might be a little too heavy for you, Naruto, still looking at the Anbu. The Anbu only scoffed and grabbed Naruto's sword but couldn't get it off the ground as the rest tried and failed. I told you, Naruto said in an amused tone. The Anbu finally gave up and walked up to Naruto, surrendering him. As the rat Anbu nodded to the falcon Anbu before he vanished in a shunshin. So what happens now? Naruto said as the monkey Anbu walked up to Naruto trying to remove his cloak. But Naruto jumped back before the Anbu could touch him. As the Anbu tried to charge Naruto again, but Naruto stuck his foot out and tripping the Anbu up, making him fall flat on his face. Whoa, hold your horses, Naruto said, snickering, pissing off the monarchy Anbu who was about to charge, but suddenly felt a hand on his shoulder. As the rat Anbu turned to Naruto and spoke up. The Hokage will see to you now, he said, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder, who just shrugged. Naruto turned to the rest of the 3 Anbu and gave a 2-finger salute. Jaw northeast. Naruto said as him and the Anbu vanished, leaving a fuming Anbu, while 2 others were giggling behind their mask. Hokage office. In the Hokage office was Minato, Kushina, Sarutobi, Jiraiya and Tsunade. Minato, did you feel that? Jiraiya said, looking at his son. Yes, Dad, there is a strong presence that has entered into Konoha even though that it is a far distance away. Wait. Dad, do you think that it could be the Akatsuki? Minato said, frantically fearing for his daughters. No, Jiraiya said. They should not be on the move for about another 3 years. Minato let out a thankful sigh. Father, I think that it is time for them to up their training, don't you think? Minato said, looking at them. Are you sure, Minato said Kushina. Minato only smiled and nodded in agreement. Yes, I said Minato, but he was cut off as a Anbu and cloaked stranger shunshined inside the room. Lord Hokage, this stranger wishes to speak to you, as everyone in the room was looking towards the hidden Naruto. Yes, THT is fine, Minato said, eyeing Naruto curiously. As the Anbu nodded and vanished in a shunshin. So who are you? Minato said, reaching for a kunai that was under his desk. Oh right, the cloak, Naruto said as he grabbed the cloak and ripped it off of his body, making them go on their guard, but to the shock of everyone when the cloak came down, it revealed the neglected son of the 4th Hokage. Naruto. Naruto. They all shouted as they stared at the young young man in front of them. Kushina and Tsunade couldn't help but feel themselves blush at their grandson. Naruto was a perfect replica of Minato, only just more handsome. His whiskers has faded over time, but they were still there, but so thin that you hardly see them. His face and eyes was more sharp from all of the training and losing all of the baby fat, giving him a more angular, wild and handsome look. Naruto was dressed in an open black-red trench coat with high-collar sleeveless black shirt, which showed of his rock-hard 8-pack. His body wasn't too muscular or too skinny, it was very defined and very lean. He also wore black shinobi pants and black ninja boots. He currently stood at the height of 5'9", with his blonde hair flowing, giving it a silky but spiky look. But the most noticeable thing that was with Naruto was the giant sword that was on his back. Naruto, is that really you? Minato asked, his eyes wide. Naruto only looked at him for a few seconds and responded in his normal coolie voice. Yeah, Lord Hokage, Naruto said, inwardly enjoying his father flinching at the way he called him. Naru-chan. Kushina yelled out, rushing out and enveloping into a hug. Naruto. Kushina said, hugging him, which made everyone smile at the scene, but Naruto was the first to speak up. Mrs. Uzumaki, said Naruto, as everyone's attention turned to Naruto. I would very much appreciate it if you would kindly unhand me, said Naruto, who wasn't even looking at the teary-eyed redhead. But Naru-chan, it's been so long since we have even talked, Kushina said as her tears were freely flowing down from her eyes. Naruto resisted the urge to facepalm as he just stared at the crying red-haired woman. Naruto turned to Kushina and spoke. And whose fault is that? Naruto said, looking at everyone in the room with his cold, unwavering gaze. As the guilt started to flood in the hearts for everyone, they only looked down in shame. He was right, they did absolutely nothing for him. Hell, they couldn't even remember the last time they celebrated his birthday. Minato only sighed as he turned to his eldest son. Naruto, you do know that we have questions, right? He said, speaking in a soft tone. Naruto looked at Minato for a while and shrugged. Just don't take too long, sorta have to meet someone, Naruto said with a smirk that didn't went unnoticed by them. Wait, is he talking about Rin? There is nowhere, right? Minato thought as his eyes went wide. Kushina noticed the smirk on his face as she got angry. What the hell does this little whore think she is trying to take my baby boy? Kushina thought as her hair started to flow like the 9 tails, which made Naruto sweat drop and everyone else back away. Cough cough as Naruto got their attention back. So, what questions do you all have first? Minato decided to speak up first and clear the elephant from the room. Naruto, where have you been for the last couple of years? As everyone stared at Naruto waiting for an answer, to which Naruto only shrugged. I've been all around the elemental nations training, Naruto said as their eyes went wide. I mean, hey, it wasn't every day you see a 7-year traveling around the elemental nations. So you mean that you have been traveling around the elemental nations since they were 7? Yup, Naruto said nonchalantly as they stared at him in shock. Jiraiya walked up to him in shock, but how I have my spy network everywhere. Naruto only got into a thinking pause and I guess they weren't good enough, he said with his normal cool voice, hitting a blow to Jiraiya pride. Also, Lord Hokage Naruto said inwardly laughing his ass off seeing Minato flinch at the name he just called him. I would like to know are there any available houses in the area, Naruto said as they all stared at him like he grew a second head. But Naruto you already have a home with us, Minato said with desperation in his voice, not wanting his son to be away from him any longer. Naruto only looked at him with hidden amusement. I'm sorry Lord Hokage, but I'm not your son anymore. If you already know the rules of Konoha, then any non-clansmen that are not a part of the clan are not to live with them. Naruto said as they looked at him like he's lost it. Naruto? What are you talking about? You are my son, and you are a part of the Uzumaki Namikaze and Senju clan. Minato said standing up from his desk as the rest of them nodded. Naruto let out an audible sigh and gave them a look that said do I really have to explain as Naruto looked at Minato for a few seconds and then spoke. Lord Hokage what do you know about Article 15 Number 7 made by Tobirama Senju in Konoha clan rules, Naruto said as they all got in a thinking position but couldn't find anything. I don't really know, I haven't read the clan's rules since I got my first position as the Hokage, Minato said feeling a little embarrassed, but something in the back of his head told him that he didn't want to find out. I two questions listen up, Naruto said as they all paid attention to him, but on the inside Naruto was dancing like he threw the biggest party ever. Question 1. Who is the oldest child in the Uzumaki Namiya Senju clan? That's easy, your Naruto-kun, Kushina said inwardly praising herself. Right, Naruto sarcastically responded rolling his eyes. Question 2. Okay, who is the known clan heirs to the Namikaze Uzumaki Senju, Naruto said as Jiraiya stepped up a bit proud. Well that's a easy one Naruto, Jiraiya said puffing his chest out. The clan heir of the great Namikaze Uzumaki is Naruto, and the heir of the great Senju clan is Narumi, who are the students of the Yellow Flash, Red Death, and taught by two of the great Sanins. The queen of all slug Tsunade and the great toad sage, Jiraiya said arrogantly. 009 to 015 Naruto equals Vegeta. Very good, now do you want a cookie, Naruto said with his eyes closed clapping sarcastically. Now if you would put 2 and 2 together that makes up the clan rule, what do you have? They once again got into the thinking position. Tsunade started to think back to her Grand Unli rules that he showed her grandfather. As Tsunade and Hiruzen eyes went wide as they remembered the clan heir rule that her granduncle made about the clan of Konoha. No, you can't mean that. Rule, Tsunade yelled out as everyone started to look at her in confusion. Minato, you didn't, Hiruzen said as he looked at his successor. So you figured it out, Tsunade. Would you kindly let them know what you're talking about, Naruto said with a eye smile. Tsunade looked over to Minato and Kushina then looked back to the floor, knowing that they both will be crushed when they finds out. Mother, what is Naruto talking about? And what rule? Minato asked. Kushina looked to Kushina then to Minato, as she let out a heavy sigh she then began to speak. What Naruto is saying is that he has been disowned from all of the Uzumaki Namikaze Senju clans. That means he holds no relation to either of you, no father, no mother, no grandfather and no grandmother, she said somberly looking away from their shocked and horrified faces. Hiruzen, is this correct? Minato stuttering out looking to Hiruzen with an expression that begged him to tell him that is not true. Sai Minato, what she has said is correct, Naruto currently is a non-member of either of the clans, he said, as everyone had different expressions. Kushina was openly crying, Minato had a look of horror on his face, Tsunade had a ashamed look on her face, and Jiraiya had gotten an idea. Naruto, Jiraiya said as they all turned to him. What is it? Old pervert, Naruto said looking at the sage. Jiraiya ignoring the comment spoke up. How would you like to be the leader of the Uzumaki or Namikaze side branch, Jiraiya said with a large smile. Naruto looked at him strangely as he continued. You would be taught by us in low to mid-level jutsu, taijutsu and low-level medical jutsu to help support Naruto and Narumi, Jiraiya said as they all thought about it and smiled, well except Naruto and Hiruzen, I mean who wouldn't want to train with the strongest people in Konoha, as they nodded. Naruto only did something that made them shocked. He laughed. Very hard, much to the amusement of Hiruzen, who was failing to keep his giggles back. Ahahahahaha. Laughed Naruto, who was on the floor, his hand barely supporting him as he tried to stand up. You think pant, good joke, and here I was just thinking you were just a pervert, but you got some jokes too. Seriously, if you think that I would be their slaves like the Hyuga branch members, then forget it. No. Not like the Hyuga, Naruto. You would support them and helping them because they both are the childs of prophecy, exclaimed Jiraiya with a frown. Oh then hell no. I don't want anything to do with all of you, why of all times now when you had the chances to do it when I was still a child, Naruto said, making the guilt even worse, as Naruto turned back to the Hokage. So many new houses open, Naruto said nonchalantly as Hiruzen had a sweat drop. Really, Naruto, look at the situation you just made some of the strongest people in the world either cry or looked ashamed of all times. Why now? Thought Hiruzen. Minato looked to Naruto with a sad smile as he went through a few papers, but he thought of something and inwardly had a large smile. I'm sorry Naruto, but there are no available houses in the district now, Minato said inwardly smiling, but on the outside, he had a plain expression. Damn it, why the hell does it feel like I'm being played right now? Naruto thought. As Minato began to speak again. But we do have extra rooms in the Uzumaki Namixi Senju compound. That might not be a good option Lord Hokage, I am an outsider of your clan, there's no way that I could impose myself on you and your family, Naruto said with a forced smile. Damn it all. No need Naruto, we will be happy to have a guest of our own, Minato said with a smile of his own. Fine. But if you read the letter of what I said then I would like to be a Chunin, Naruto said as they looked at him strangely for a moment. I'm sorry Naruto, but as Hokage I can't show favoritism, Minato said, hoping to keep his son a bit longer. Naruto only shrugged. Then put me with this class graduation, aren't they doing the exam today, Naruto said. Sorry Naruto, I don't think that I can help you with this problem either, but I can enroll you for next year, classes, Minato said inside smirking. Well then. Naruto said with a smirk of his own, as everyone's head turned to Naruto. If you do me a favor then I could show you the secret to solve your paperwork problem, Naruto said with a smirk as Minato and Hiruzen eyes widened. In a blur of speed Minato and Hiruzen was on the ground in front of groveling, as they both looked to Naruto. What? Minato started. Hiruzen said. Minato said. Secret. Shouted Hiruzen and Minato comically. Naruto said playfully. Me first, Naruto said as in a flash Minato appeared to his desk and quickly wrote something down and flashed back to Naruto. Here, take this down to the academy and give this to Iruka in room 221, now please for the love of Kami God, tell us the secret. Minato said shouted. Naruto shrugged and put his two fingers in a plus sign and disappeared in a poof of smoke, leaving a wide-eyed room. So that's the secret, Shadow cloned Tsunade said in disbelief as she looked over to see her former sensei and son sitting there with a blank expression. Until. Minato suddenly took out one of his flying thunder god kunai, while Hiruzen took out a harakiri, as Minato looked at each other with a nod before they tried to commit seppuku together. As everyone in the room eyes went wide as Kushina and Samanbu rushed to Minato and tried to get the kunai out of his hands, while Jiraiya and Tsunade rushed to Hiruzen and tried to do the same thing with Hiruzen. Oh, I need to do this, Minato and Hiruzen yelled out comically in unison. Time skip academy. Okay, now where is room 221, Naruto thought as he made his way down the hall inside the academy. Here it is, Naruto said as he made his way inside. Alright class but he was cut off as someone with a black cloak came inside the classroom. The black cloak figure looked at the teacher. You're Iruka Yamino, right, said the cloaked figure. The teacher, now known as Iruka, looked at the person in the black cloak and responded. Why yes I am, and you are, he said looking to the cloaked figure. This is from the Hokage, the figure said handing Iruka the note. As Iruka read the note his eyes went wide. The firstborn of Hokage, I thought he left the village, Iruka thought. Iruka just shook those thoughts off and smiled as he turned back to the class, who were looking and mumbling about the black cloak figure. Would you like to introduce yourself, Iruka said, seeing the figure shrug as he stepped up. As he saw all eyes on him he smirked about seeing the two girls' eyes on him. To everyone's surprise the cloak disappeared with a bright white flash. After 5 seconds the light went down as everyone had to rub their eyes and turned back to the figure who wasn't wearing his cloak anymore. Every girl in the room had a massive blush on their face, as some even had nosebleeds and fainted. The boys looked at Naruto in envy, especially a boy with red marks on his face and a white dog on his head. Your name is Naruto Strife, it's a pleasure to meet you all, Naruto said with a small smile that made every girl blush again. I'm not going over how he dressed again, it's at the top because I'm too lazy. Ani-chan, two red-head girls shouted in unison, making everyone look at them both in confusion. Waity, is your brother, asked Hinata still with a blush on her face. As everyone turned back to Naruto who just had his hands in his pockets. Yamino-san, may I take my seat now? Naruto said as Iruka nodded, still a bit surprised. You can have a seat in the back, but he again was cut off by a student. Hey. Iruka-sensei, why does he only get to take the exam, why we had to be stuck here listening to your lame lessons? Kiba shouted. Because Kibbles, I was out of the village and is strong enough to be a Chunin or higher, Naruto said, earning a round of laughter from the students. What did you say to me, dope? Shouted Kiba. Calm down, mother, I will put you on a leash, Naruto said, earning more rounds of laughter and a growl from Kiba. Okay class, settle down now, go to your seat, Iruka said as Naruto only nodded and headed to the back. As Iruka went over his last speech, Naruto just continued to look out of the window, but saw every girl in the room glance at him every 5 seconds. Time skip outside because author is lazy. Okay everyone, shouted Iruka, today we will be doing the taijutsu portion. When I call your name you are to do hand-to-hand combat until the opponent is either knocked out the ring or if your opponent admit defeat. Match 1. Shikamaru vs Kayukuchi. Are you both ready, Iruka said. Kai only gave a nod. Troublesome, Shikamaru said as he entered the circle. Begin. Iruka said as Kai rushed to Shikamaru and threw a punch to which he dodged. Kai turned around and lashed out another punch to Shikamaru, who only sidestepped him and went through hand signs. Shadow imitation technique, Shikamaru called out, catching Kai inside it. As Shikamaru slowly backed up, Kai did the same until he was out of the circle. Winner Shikamaru. Nara's clapping could be heard. Both clan heads. Shikaku, your kid is pretty smart, said Chauza, who was patting Shikaku on the back. Yeah, but only if he had a bit more motivation, Shikaku said with a smile. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, my little brat is too overconfident in himself, Tsume said. Yeah, the same with Satsuki, she got the Uchiha arrogance, Mikoto said looking at her daughter. Same with my nephew, ever since Hisashi died he has been preaching about fate, non-stop, said Hiashi. Kids, they all thought in unison. Hey, wasn't Minato supposed to be here, said Inoichi. And in a yellow flash, Minato, Hiruzen, Kushina, Jiraiya and Tsunade appeared. Oh, speak of the devil, where have you been, Minato? Inoichi said. Minato looked at him and smiled. He has returned, Minato said, but they were all confused. Who are you talking about, Minato? Said Shikaku with curiosity in his voice. Minato just kept quiet and told him to watch. Kushina, did something happen? Mikoto said. Kushina just looked at her friend with a small smile. It will soon, she said as she turned back around to the matches. Who are they talking about, the clan heads thought. Back with the fights. I'm just skip it to the important parts. Match 8, Narumi vs Akiko. 8. Are you both ready, Iruka said, to which they both nodded. Begin. He called out. Akiko rushed to Narumi and threw a punch, to which Narumi ducked over and threw a punch back to Akiko, which connected and threw her back a bit. Akiko threw a left hook to Narumi, who blocked it and punched her in the gut, sending her out of the circle. Winner Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. As the crowd started cheering, but she was trying to find Naruto, who wasn't in sight. Where did Oni-chan go? Her in apartment. Naruto's POV. Oh my god, Naruto. Rin moaned out, oh yes. Fuck me, just like that baby. Ah. Rin, you're so tight. Moaned Naruto. My thrust began to get faster as time went by. She wrapped her legs around me tight, making sure I stay inside her. The more I thrust, the warmer it felt inside her. When I look at her face, she looked so boastful that I just want to pleasure her more. I'm so close. Rin cried out. Me too, ah. About 3 or 4 more strokes, we released our climax together and fell on the bed. Both of us panting hardly. I looked over to see that she had passed out with a blinding smile on her face that made my heart skip a beat. Even when she's sleeping she has a boastful face, Naruto said quietly as he got up and put his clothes back on and left a note to her. Good thing she used the birth control jutsu or I would have been in big trouble, Naruto thought as he made his way back to the academy. Academy rooftop. Naruto met up with his shadow clone, who gave him a perverted smile and a fist bump before he disappeared in a poof of smoke. As Naruto sighed and began to hear the next person going up. Match 9, Naruto vs Miyuka. Are you both ready? Iruka said as they both nodded. Begin. Iruka called. As Mia rushed towards Naruto, who dodged effortlessly. Take this. Mia yelled as she tried to hit Naruto with her fist, who dodged and hit her in the chest, to which she stumbled back. Naruto moved with incredible speed from her spot and side-kicked Mia, sending her soaring outside of the ring. Winner Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. Once again there was cheering and applause going around the area, but Naruto, just like Narumi, was looking for her Oni-chan. Match 10, Kiba Inuyasaka vs Naruto Strife. As there were murmurs going around about who is Naruto Strife. But not with the clan heads. But the clan heads, as their eyes went wide. Minato, isn't Naruto your son who left the village? Shouted Inoichi, surprised. Yes, he has finally come back, Minato said with a sad smile. Kushina, where is Naruto? Mikoto asked. I don't know, he should have been here, wisered back Kushina. Well, wherever he is I bet he can't beat my son, Tsume said with a grin. Oh, and would you want to make a bet then? Kushina said a little amused. Fine then, 3,000 Ryu, Tsume said with a grin. I put 3,000 on Kiba, said Hiashi. I want in too, said Inoichi, said 3,000 on Kiba. Count me in then, said Chauza. 3,000 on Kiba. I will put 3,000 on Kiba, Shibi said. I guess I'll put 3,000 on Naruto, Mikoto said. Troublesome, but I'll put 3,000 on Naruto, said Shikaku. I don't know what Naruto can do, so I'll put 3,000 on Kiba, said Jiraiya. I know I should be cheering for Naruto, but I'll be putting 3,000 on Kiba, said Tsunade. I will put 3,000 on Naruto, Minato said. I will put 4,000 on Naruto-kun, said Hiruzen. I will put 14,000 on young Naruto, said a cloaked figure as everyone turned around to see a black cloaked man. As he only laid the 14,000 down and disappeared. Who the hell was that, said Chauza shouted. Naruto Strife. As they turned back to the match. Call the match, Iruka-sensei, he probably ran away, Kiba said with a big smirk. Oh, I know, he shut the hell up, Kibbles, and you better be ready, a voice said as everyone turned to see Naruto walking from behind the tree. As the women there couldn't help but get a massive blush on their face and a bit of drool that came from their mouth. As Naruto made his way to the circle, the clan heads tried to change the bet, but it was too late. "Are you both ready?" Iruka asked, as they both nodded. "Begin." Iruka called out. "Sit this one out, Akamaru, this won't take 10 seconds. Kiba said, putting down Akamaru, but Naruto spoke up. "Just like you in the bed, isn't that right, Kibbles?" Naruto said as everyone burst out laughing, even Kiba mom. Kiba went red-faced in anger as he stepped forward to Naruto, but something smelled off about him. It smelled like, as Kiba eyes went wide as he blushed and jumped back. "You," he said, pointing to Naruto, as everyone's attention was on them. "Why do you smell like sex?" Kiba shouted as everyone's jaw dropped and looked to Naruto, who wasn't even fazed. Naruto only shrugged and responded plain and simple. "I had sex," Naruto said like it was normal, as all the girls had massive blushes on their face, but the guys just had more respect for the kid every passing moment. "When? Where? And how?" Kiba shouted, mixed with jealousy and respect for Naruto. "Now that's a story for another day," Naruto said with a foxy smile, making all of the women there get a bit wet down there. "Let's just fight," Naruto said. As Kiba rushed towards and threw a volley of punches, but Naruto just stood there blocking every attack. Kiba went for a sweet kick, but Naruto saw this coming in slow motion and merely stepped back. They continued for about a minute until Kiba got pissed and started yelling. "Stop dodging my attacks and fight back," Kiba said, losing his patience. Naruto stared at him for a few seconds before he got into a fighting position and reached in his kunai pouch. As Kiba's expression changed from angry to a smirk. "So you're finally taking me serious, huh, loser?" What Naruto pulled out next shocked everyone to their very core, and much to the horror of Jiraiya. It was Icha Paradise 3. Kiba only saw red as he burst from his position and tried to attack Naruto over and over, who was dodging and not even looking. As Ivan tried to stifle their laughter, but it didn't work as everyone bursted out laughing. What more surprised them that Tsume was howling in laughter. As Naruto closed his book, he saw Kiba panting and glaring at him. "Oh, Kibbles is angry here," Naruto said as he pulled out a dog treat as the laughter got even louder until everyone was on the floor clutching their side. Even the clan stoic clan head Shibi and Hiashi were wheezing on the ground with so much laughter. "Alright," Naruto said, chuckling. "I think that we are done here," Naruto said as he disappeared from everyone's side as the clan heads Jonin's and Chunin's eyes went wide at the pure speed. "Call the match," Naruto said as everyone looked over to see Kiba slumped over Naruto's shoulders, knocked out. "Winner Naruto Strife," Iruka said in shock. As Naruto handed Kiba to Iruka and walked back to the tree that he was laying under. We will begin the next portion in 10 minutes," said Iruka as he shunshined with Kiba to the hospital. As Naruto felt eyes were on him with lust, sadness, proudness, and a male crush from a one-eyed pervert. "What the hell?" Naruto thought as Naruto opened his eyes once again and looked over to the clan head before appearing in front of them all. Naruto looked at them all as he was getting some curious looks from the male shinobi and some lust from the female side, but he shook those thoughts off and reached his hand out. "Where's my half?" Naruto said as they looked at him strangely, as Shikaku would say it troublesome, some said Shibi as he handed Naruto 1000 Ryu. "Hey Shibi, why did you give Naruto 1000 Ryu?" said Chauza. "Do you all remember the cloaked man?" "Well, that was Naruto," Shibi said as their eyes went wide. "So how did you know it was me?" Naruto said, looking at Shibi. "You already know that, answer Naruto," he said with a hidden smirk. Naruto only smiled and shrugged as he looked at the rest of the clan heads. "Fine," Noichi said with a chuckle here as he handed Naruto 1000 Ryu. "Tuckle, that was an impressive match, Naruto. I haven't laughed like that since my Genin days. I just wish that my nephew was more like you," Naruto said Hiashi, which shocked everyone. "Tuckle, if we are to meet in battle, I would be sure to take the pole out of his ass," Naruto said with a smirk, making Hiashi burst out laughing again. Alright, here you go. Good match, Naruto," Chauza said with a smile. "Thanks," Naruto said as he took the money. As Naruto just walked past both of the Sannin without even giving them a second glance, as they both just looked down. As Naruto finally made his way to the last person who started the bet. "Tsume Yuzaka, it's a pleasure," Naruto said smoothly as he reached out his hand for a handshake. As she reached out, he took her hand and placed a small kiss on the back. Tsume felt like electricity went through her body just from the kiss. Naruto gave her one of his foxy-like grin. Tsume felt her face heat up but shoved it down. She leaned closer to his ear and whispered into it. "Forget about some measly little bet, how about I gove you something else," she said, giving him a feral grin. Naruto the one not like to be dominated, so he whispered back. "Well then, that's fine, because I always wanted to fuck a wild girl like you in every position until you begged me to put it in," Naruto said with a lustful tone. Tsume blushed red as she just handed Naruto the 1000 yen, who in return grinned. "Hey, what's that?" Naruto said, pointing to Tsume left as she looked over to find nothing, but as she looked back she found her lips being captured by Naruto. As Tsume melted into the kiss that lasted for about a minute until Naruto stepped back. See Yatsuhime, Naruto said as he disappeared in a lightning shunshin, leaving a baffled shinobi council and a jealous crowd of girls, especially two twin redhead girls. Soon. What the hell was that? Shouted Kushina in a bit of jealousy. I don't know, but I think I'm in love, Kushina, said Tsume. I can't believe this, the great Tsume, most undominated woman in Konoha, dominated by a 13-year-old. Oh, this is just priceless, said Chaoza as he started to laugh. Kiba is not going to like this, muttered Shikamaru. I'm Skip. Okay students, for the final tests we are going to do the weapon and ninjutsu portion today, said Iruka. Now would everyone please form a line, Iruka said as all of the students made a single line except one, who was glaring daggers at a certain blonde student. Iruka noticed the glare and sighed. Sigh, Kiba, please get in line and stop glaring at Naruto, Iruka said, shaking his head. As Kiba got in line, he kept his glare on Naruto, who only turned and smirked while flicking the bird towards him, making his glare increase and double. Who the hell does this bastard think he is, shouted Kiba mentally as he kept glaring at Naruto. Naruto turned back as his eyes met with a pair of charcoal black eyes. The girl kept staring at Naruto, who smiled at her and gave a lazy wave as she quickly turned around, feeling the heat rush to her face. What was that? Satsuki thought as her thoughts drifted off to Naruto. She turned back to see that he was still smiling at her. She immediately scoffed at him and decided to speak to him. What the hell are you staring at, dope? Said Satsuki with her usual Uchiha demeanor. Oh, nothing, just admiring your stunning body, and I must say, goddamn. You're sexy, said Naruto with a smirk, seeing her face turn bright red. Who the hell is this guy? Satsuki thought, her face becoming red as a tomato. I mean, if we were the only ones won this field, I would just take your clothes off right here and ravage you, Naruto said, getting closer and whispering in her ear, making Satsuki blush turn into a deeper shade of red. Satsuki couldn't believe it. The man who she never even met before could making her blush like this. She tried to glare at Naruto, who only was smiling at her, seeing the red tint of pink on her both of her cheeks. And she said, turning back to Iruka while Naruto chuckled, not noticing the two seething girls in the front of the line. That damn slut, shouted Naruto and Narumi mentally. Okay everyone, this test will be going by marks, you each will get 10 kunai and 10 shuriken each, understand? Iruka said, seeing everyone head nod. Okay, first up. Sakura Haruno. Yes sir. Said Sakura as she grabbed all of the kunai. I'll show that Naruto baka to not embarrass my Kiba-kun in front of others, Sakura thought. Cha. She yelled out, throwing the kunai, hitting 4 out of 10. Feeling proud of herself, she grabbed the shuriken and hit in 5 out of 10 for shuriken, just barely getting a scoring passing grade. As she turned to Naruto and gave him a smug look to Naruto, who in return didn't even acknowledge her. She gained a tick mark and tightened her fist as she was about to rush over there to punch the daylights out of him, but was stopped by Iruka, making her scoff, and went over to fangirl about Kiba. Total bitch, right? As there was only minor clapping for the viewing. Next up, Ino Yamanaka. Said Iruka as she stepped up and got a total of 6 out of 10 for kunai and a 6 out of 10 for shuriken. Good job, Ino, Iruka said as she walked back to her spot with a smirk on her face aimed at Sakura. Ino looked over to see Naruto, who turned his head as Naruto electric blue eyes met her pale light blue eyes. They locked eyes with each other that felt like it lasted for hours as he gave her a fox smile which made her blush and turn around quickly, ignoring the clapping. Next up, Choji Akimichi, Iruka said as Choji walked up to the ring and threw the kunais, getting a 6 out of 10, and for the shuriken getting another 6 out of 10. The crowd burst into applause for the RFT Akimichi as Iruka only smiled and nodded to Choji. Next up, Shikamaru Nara, Iruka said as the lazy shadow user lazily made his way over to the circle as he picked up the kunai as threw them, getting a 7 out of 10, and throwing the shuriken getting a 6 out of 10 as more clapping came from the shinobi side and civilians. What a drag, Shikamaru thought with a small smile before returning back to the line. Next up, Hinata Hyuga, Iruka said as she stepped up. BTW, she is not shy because she was always hang around with Naruto and Narumi. Hinata got a 9 out of 10 in kunai and a 8 out of 10 in shuriken as the whole field could be heard of cheering and applause from everyone. Even the stoic Hiashi had a smile planted on his face. God work, Hinata, Iruka said as she nodded and walked from the circle. When she exited, she noticed that Naruto was checking her out as a blush spread across her face, making her turn red and looking the other way. Next up, Shino Abru, Iruka called out. As Shino walked to the field, picking up the kunai, throwing them, getting a 8 out of 10, and throwing the kunai, getting another 8 out of 10. More cheering could be heard for the Abrum boy as he made his way out of the circle. Next up, Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Iruka said as the cheering got louder for the village heroes. As Narumi walked up and grabbed the kunai and threw them, gracefully hitting a 9 out of 10, she then moved over to the shuriken, throwing them with force, hitting it directly in the bull's eye, scoring another 9 out of 10 as cheers grew even more. But Narumi didn't care about that as she looked over to see her brother not paying attention to her as she only dropped her head, tears forming from her eyes. Next up, Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Iruka said, and more cheers could be heard throughout the area. Naruto walked up and grabbed the 10 kunes and threw them with a lot of force, hitting a perfect 10 out of 10. Naruto grabbed all of the shuriken and threw them with great speed, hitting a 9 out of 10. As the crowd went wild at the display, but just as her sister she didn't care about them as she looked over to her brother to get approval, but instead Naruto wasn't even turning her direction. As there was a large ache in her heart, she just wanted to cry and ask for forgiveness towards her brother, but she WLL tried to win his heart back, just like when they were kids. Next up Kiba and Yuzaka. As Kiba made his way to the field, he gained a smug look and shot a glare towards Naruto who was looking at the sky. "Listen up dope, let's make a bet," Kiba said pointing towards Naruto. Naruto looked at him in curiosity for a few seconds. Kiba, I don't really think you want to bet with someone like me," Naruto said a bit amused. Kiba only scoffed, "Are you in or not?" Naruto shrugged his shoulders, "Sure, what are the conditions?" Naruto said. Kiba grin grew wide. "If I win you will do anything I say for a week and you can't refuse." Naruto was inwardly smirking at this idiot's stupidity. "Well then if I win then you will walk around naked," Naruto said with a smirk. Kiba instantly paled at that thought. "So do we have a deal?" Naruto said. Kiba only nodded dumbly. "Okay, the bet is if I hit the most targets I win, but if you hit the most target then you win," Kiba said with a smirk. "Okay, fine by me. But the clan heads, soon not to be rude of anything, but is your son stupid?" said Mikoto who only looked at Kiba with sincere pity. "Sigh, at this point, I honestly do not know," replied Tsume as she started to pinch the bridge of her nose. "Well, I'll tell you something, he is going to lose badly," said Choza, as he tried to hold back his laughter along with the other guys. Back to the match. As Kiba walked to the field he grabbed the kunai and threw them as hard as he can, hitting a 9 out of 10. As he moved on to the shuriken he grabbed the shuriken and threw them with incredible force, but unlucky for him, one of them went off target and hit a tree that was in the background. "Good job Kiba," Iruka said. "Beat that loser," Kiba said smugly pointing to Naruto who was reading Icha Icha Paradise. "Did you hear me, loser?" Kiba shouted. "Huh? Oh you say something?" Naruto said. Sniff sniff. Everyone turned their head to Kakashi who had a box of tissues and had tears coming out of his one shown eye. "I think I just found my first student," Kakashi said, blowing his nose into the tissue making everyone sweat drop. "You bastard," Kiba said and was about to rush towards him again, but felt Iruka's hand on his shoulder causing him to stop. "That's enough Kiba," Iruka said as Kiba stopped and grumbled before going back to his spot. And lastly Naruto strife, Iruka called out as Naruto made his way up to the field. As Naruto grabbed every kunai and shuriken in both hands. "Hey Naruto, what are you doing?" Naruto turned around to him and only told him to watch. Naruto looked back to the target and tightened his hands on the ninja tools. And to everyone's shock the kunai and shuriken started to crackle with intense lightning that was dancing around them. Before anyone can do or say anything, Naruto launched the kunai and shuriken with tremendous force and such speed that the kunai and shuriken implanted ripped through the bullseye, every last weapon breaking through the target. Everyone's jaw dropped, it was so quiet you could hear a needle drop. Then everyone burst into cheers for Naruto. "Naruto, that was amazing, you get extra points," said Iruka as Naruto only shrugged and went back to his spot. But suddenly a holer monk, Sakura, started screaming that Naruto cheated. "Iruka-sensei, Naruto Baka cheated, there's no way that he can do that," she said, screeching, causing everyone except Kiba who was frozen to cover their ears. "Hey Sakura," Naruto said as she turned to him. "Shut up," he said and then turned back around. Everyone's sweat dropped while Sakura was fuming. Iruka then spoke up before anything could happen. "Okay everyone, our last test today is the jutsu portion. When I call your name please step up," Iruka said as he started to read through the list. "I'm just going to skip through the civilian kids, some passed, some didn't. Next up Shino Aburm," Iruka said. Shino nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. "God job. Next, clone jutsu," Iruka said as he made 3 clones of himself. Iruka nodded. "Next substitution," as he substituted with a log. "Now do a jutsu of you liking," Iruka said, as Shino nodded and went through hand signs, and a swarm of bugs came from his sleeve tearing right through the practice dummy. "Great job Shino," Iruka said as he gave him a headband, and everyone started applauding the Aburmare. "Next up Shikamaru Nara," Iruka said. Shikamaru nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. "God job. Next, clone jutsu," Iruka said as he made 2 clones of himself. Iruka nodded. "Next substitution," as he substituted with a log. "Now do a jutsu of you liking," Iruka said, as Shikamaru nodded and went through hand signs and called out. "Shadow imitation shuriken technique," Shikamaru said as the shadows turned into shuriken and ripped the practice dummy apart. As everyone began to cheer for Shikamaru, "Troublesome," he said as he took his headband and walked back. "Next up Choji Akimichi," Iruka said. Choji nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. "God job. Next, clone jutsu," Iruka said as he made 2 clones of himself. Iruka nodded. "Next substitution," as he substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said, as Choji nodded and went through hand signs. Human bullet tank. He called out and turned into a huge ball and crushed the dummy. Great job. Choji, take a headband, he said as Choji walked over and picked up a blue headband. Next up Hinata Hyuga, Iruka said. Hinata nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 3 clones of herself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution as he substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as she nodded and got into her taijutsu style. She activated her bioakugan and locked onto the dummy and rushed towards it. 8 trigrams 32 palms, she called out. 2 palm, 4 palm, 8 palm, 16 palm, 32 palm. She called out as she hit the chest of the dummy as the whole thing just exploded. Excellent, Hinata. Iruka said as he gave her a headband. She then turning back around but not before taking a peep at Naruto. Next up Sakura Haruno, Iruka said. Sakura nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 3 clones of herself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution, he said as she substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as she nodded and went through hand signs. I honestly don't know what she can do. So yeah, she get a pass number useless here, Iruka said as he gave her a headband and quickly moved on. Next up Ino Yamanaka, Iruka said. Ino nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 3 clones of herself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution as she substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as nodded and went through hand signs. Water style. Water bullet. She called out as the water bullets broke right through the chest of the dummy. Perfect, Ino, Iruka said as he handed her a headband. Next up Kiba Berm, Iruka said. As he slowly made his way to the field, ignoring the snickers from the people. He only nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Iruka. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 3 clones of himself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution as he substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as he nodded and went through hand signs. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Kiba called out as he burned the dummy into a crisp. Good job, Kiba, Iruka said and gave him a headband. Kiba only nodded and slowly walked back to his spot. But not before shooting a dirty glare towards Naruto. Okay, next Satsuki Uchiha, Iruka said as the cheering got louder. Good luck, Naruto said with a smile. TCH whatever, she said, turning around and walking away. But for some reason her heart felt warm when he said that to her. She just shook those thoughts off and made her way to the field. She did the transformation jutsu and turned into her mother. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 4 clones of herself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution, he said as she substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as she nodded and went through hand signs. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. She called out as it met with the dummy and burned the thing alive. Great job, Satsuki, Iruka said as he gave her a headband. HMPH, she said and turned around and walked towards the smiling Naruto. She quickly looked away with a small blush on her face. What the hell is wrong with me? She thought. Next up Naruto Uzumaki Namaki Senju, as the crowd went wild for a bit and died down a little after as she walked into the field. She nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Kushina. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 5 shadow clones of herself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution as she substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as nodded. She then turned to the dummy. Suddenly chakra chains burst from her back and sliced the practice dummy into pieces. The crowd started cheering louder than before. Great job, Naruto, Iruka said and handed her the headband. She then took a glance at her brother who was looking at the sky. She felt like she was about to cry, but forced it down and walked back to her same spot. Next up Narumi Uzumaki Namaki Senju, the crowd burst into cheers and calmed down a little after she made her way into the field. Are you ready, Iruka said as she nodded and did the transformation jutsu and turned into Minato. Good job. Next, clone jutsu, Iruka said as she made 4 shadow clones of herself. Iruka nodded. Next, substitution as she substituted with a log. Now do a jutsu of you liking, Iruka said as nodded. She then turned to the dummy. She summoned 2 shadow clones and reached her hand out. The clones both put their hands over the original and started to claw on the top of her hand, forming a Rasengan. As she turned around with incredible speed and launched herself forward to the dummy and drove the Rasengan through the dummy. Crowd started to cheer like never before. Great job, Narumi, Iruka said and handed her the headband. She glanced over towards her brother looking for praise, but it never came as he was still looking at the sky. She felt a pang inside her heart and slowly moved back towards her spot with her head down. And lastly, Naruto Strife, Iruka called out, but there was silence as Naruto made his way to the field. Naruto, are you ready, Iruka said as Naruto gave a small nod. Okay, first transformation, Iruka said, and Naruto turned into the 3rd Hokage. Great job Naruto, Iruka said. Next clone jutsu, Iruka said as Naruto only shrugged and suddenly 30 shadow clones popped in existence. What, but I didn't see any hand signs. Iruka said and turned to Naruto. Everyone jaw dropped once again because of the young blonde. Naruto, how did you do that, Iruka said astonished. Naruto looked into the sky and then replied. Hard work, he said, not taking his eyes off the sky. Iruka's sweat dropped and turned back. Okay Naruto, next to adjust to of your liking, Iruka said as Naruto stared at him strangely before looking back to everyone. Everyone, and I mean everyone, please step back or you might get hit in the crossfire, Naruto said, leaving everyone confused, but they just stepped back in curiosity. You too, Iruka-sensei, Naruto said as Iruka shrugged and stepped back also. Naruto went through hand signals faster than anyone could see. Obito and Kakashi's eyes went wide as they tried to see this Jutsu with their Sharingan, but for some reason they couldn't read it, it was too fast for them. Minato, Kakashi said in a serious tone. Yes Kakashi, Minato responded. Those hand signs are faster than the Sharingan, Kakashi said, and Minato's eyes went wide, so did with the clan heads. He's right, said Mikoto as she looked to Naruto in shock. What the hell is that jutsu, they all thought. Naruto suddenly stopped as lightning started to crackle around his hand. That looks like my Chidori. Kakashi yelled out in surprise. As everyone started to pay closer attention to Naruto. Everyone shocked, the lightning disappeared as Naruto aimed it into the sky. The lightning was shot into the sky. As everyone thought that was it until they felt raindrops hit their head. As they all looked up to see that the clouds started to turn gray and rain began to pour. Suddenly a massive roar could be heard from the sky, shocking the hell out of everyone. They all looked in awe and fear as a giant dragon made from pure lightning started to come from the clouds. Naruto, who was holding the electricity, suddenly moved his hand down in a slash motion. The dragon let out a mighty roar and in speed that Minato had trouble to track hit the dummy and half of the training field became nothing but dust. Naruto equals Sasuke, dummy equals Itachi. Everyone's jaws were dropped, nobody dared to move or make sound. Yo Iruka-sensei, did I do good? Naruto said nonchalantly. Everyone turned their attention and looked to Naruto with amazement and a bit of fear. People then began to break out into thunderous cheers and screaming Naruto name. Yeah Naruto, that was simply amazing, you get extra marks, Iruka said as Naruto smiled. Here's your headband, Iruka said as Naruto took it and tied it around his neck. But clan heads. Complete silence was hanging around the group until Chaozu broke it. What the hell did I just witness, he said turning to Minato. I honestly do not know, Minato said in complete shock. Troublesome Shikaku said. Okay, I don't think that he is just a simple genin, hell he could even be a jonin with that jutsu, said Chaozu. Minato, Jiraiya said seriously as Minato looked to him. We have to ask Naruto, where did he learn that, Jiraiya said as Minato nodded. In a deep underground lair. Lord Danzo, what should we do about this, Naruto person said, a root member. Danzo was in deep thought, he could get the boy into root 10 under his thumb, and if he refuses then he will die. But the only question is how. As he then turned back to his root ninja. Nothing for now, just keep an eye on the boy, Danzo responded. Hi. Lord Danzo, the root nin said as he disappeared. Soon, Minato, you will fall and I will take over Konoha. Danzo said as he turned back around with an evil grin. Back to the academy, what? Naruto said as all the students were looking at him in a mix of awe, fear and a bit of lust as all just turned away and looked to the talking Iruka. Iruka then gives his speech about being the ninja and stuff. Time skip. Naruto was walking around the village, gaining a lot of attention from people, especially the girls. He was about to go to the ramen shop, but an Anbu appeared in front of him. Naruto-san, Lord Hokage wishes to speak to you, the Anbu said. Naruto gave an frustrated sigh before vanishing along with the Anbu. Hokage office. Naruto appeared in the Hokage office only to meet the sight of Hiruzen, Minato, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kushina, Obito and Kakashi. Yes, Lord Hokage, Naruto said with a heated gaze looking at Minato. Naruto, Minato said softly. Lord Hokage, is this a shinobi matter or a personal matter, Naruto said looking at him, his glare hardening. Boy. Gaki, where did you learn the technique, Jiraiya said looking at Naruto in curiosity. Naruto looked at him for a couple of seconds and turned back to Minato, ignoring Jiraiya. Yes, Lord Hokage, Naruto said, seeing Minato flinch at his title. Minato sighed in defeat. Naruto, how did you attain all of this power from, Minato said looking towards his son. Naruto shrugged and told him plainly. Dragons, Naruto said looking back into Minato's eyes. Gaki. Be serious, this isn't a game, Jiraiya said, getting a bit pissed off. Shut the hell up, you old buffin, I have a name, and it's not Gaki, Naruto said with a cold glare, making Jiraiya tense up a little bit. But before Minato could respond, Minato spoke. Enough. Minato shouted, staring at both Naruto and Jiraiya. Sigh, Naruto, seriously, where did you get your power, Minato said with authority in his voice. I just watched, Naruto said as he went through a valley of Hansen's hand signs. To everyone's absolute shock, Naruto summoned a small blue dragon inside the room that wrapped itself around his neck. Yes, Naruto, you have summoned me. said the blue dragon looking down toward Naruto. Sorry Drago, there's nothing important right now, just an explanation, Naruto responded to the dragon now known as Drago. Alright, Naruto, do you still have those snacks you promised? Drago said, his tail wagging a bit. Haha, yeah here, Naruto said as he tossed a piece of chocolate inside Drago's mouth. Tasty. I'll see you around, Naruto, Drago said as he disappeared in a poof of smoke. See, Naruto said as he turned around to see everyone's jaw dropped. So can I go now? Naruto said as Minato only nodded, his jaw still open as Naruto disappeared in lightning, shocking them once again. What the hell, did that kid just summon a damn dragon? Shouted Tsunade. It seems so, we will talk about this at home, Minato said as they all nodded. I'm Skip Namikaze household. Brought to you by Naruto, getting a bone-crushing hug from the Ichiraku's family. Things were tensed at the dinner table. Everyone kept taking glances at Naruto, who was silently eating. Never thought that I would be in this damn house again, Naruto thought as Minato decided to break the ice. So, Naruto, what kind of things did you learn while traveling? Minato said nervously. Regular things, Naruto said as he slowly continued to eat. What do you mean by regular things, Naruto-kun? Kushina said. Naruto shrugged. Regular things, he said as Jiraiya grew a tick mark. Hey Gaki. Respect your mother. He yelled out. Naruto looked at Jiraiya with the most coldest glare that even changed the temperature in the room. My mother is dead, Naruto said, his tone chilly, making them shiver. Naruto stood up. Sorry Hokage-sama, but I lost my appetite, please tell me where I would be sleeping, Naruto said. In the last room on the right, Minato said in defeat. As Naruto just walked past them without even looking back and made it to his room, closing the door. Kushina burst into tears as she ran upstairs into her bedroom. Kushina. Minato called about, but it fell on deaf ears as she was already gone. Sigh, I will beep beep beep. Minato was cut off as his watch beeped. Damn it, Minato groaned out. Let me guess, Hokage office, Tsunade said. Yes, Minato responded in frustration as he turned to Tsunade. Mom, could you please check on Kushina for me, he said. Of course, Minato, Tsunade said. Alright, Minato said as he disappeared in a yellow flash. Sigh, I will see you at the compound, honey, Jiraiya said, kissing her cheek and disappearing in a puff of smoke. Alright, you girls get to bed too, I will check on your mode, Tsunade said as they both nodded sadly and went to their rooms. Sigh now for you, Kushina, she said sadly and made her way up the stairs. Small time skip. Knock, knock, Naruto, it's Kushina, may I talk to you? Kushina heard no answer, so she slowly entered Naruto's room only to find no one. She panicked and started to look around until she felt something grab her waist. She was about to pull away until she looked up and immediately got a nosebleed. What are you doing in my room, Kushina-chan? Naruto said, whispering into her ear. I was just seeing if you were alright, Kushina said, stuttering it out. Why should I believe you, or are you here to do something else to me? Kushai na, Naruto said with a smirk, seeing her blush. No. She said, moving her arms around only for it brush up against Naruto manhood, that made her blush even more. Ami, how is Sachi so big? I know Uzumaki males tend to be larger than most. But this is ridiculous. In comparison, he makes Minato look like a child. Well, it's not like it's that of a big feat considering how small Minato is generally. I wonder if I should take a peek. No. What the hell am I thinking, he is my son. But she was cut off from her thoughts as she was picked up bridal style and laid on his bed gently. Naruto-kun, what are you doing? Kushina said, looking at Naruto, who was walking closer to her. Something that Minato should be doing right now, Naruto responded. As he slowly crawled on the bed, making her blush. Lemon scene. Sachi, we shouldn't be doy, but she was cut off as Naruto connected his lips with her. She tried to push away, but she gave up and melted into the kiss. They stayed like that for a couple of minutes until Naruto broke apart. Kushina-chan, do you want to go further? Naruto said in a sultry tone. Kushina gave a nod as he captured her lips with his again, as they stayed like that for a couple more minutes. Naruto broke apart the kiss and leaned to whispered in her ear seductively. I want you, Kushina-chan, Naruto said as she blushed red at the color of her hair. Kushina bit the bottom of her lip and purred. I want you to Naruto-kun, she responded. God, you're so big, I can feel you through your shorts, she said, and she reached inside his shorts and grabbed him manhood and slowly started to rub it. Naruto then smirked, well Kushina, how would you like to get a better view of it? Kushina grinned at Naruto and kissed him quickly. She then flipped him over so that she was on top of him before reaching down and pulled at his shorts. She kissed his member down its shaft as Naruto groaned slightly as she then slid down his boxers in one go. Kushina tossed them on side of the bed as she looked down and gasped at the size it was. He's definitely way bigger than Minato. The size of his cock is much more than I thought it would be for his age. God, he must be at least 9.5 inches. I'm so wet right now, Kushina thought. She grabbed his cock with her hands and slowly started to stroke him. Kushina kissed the tip of it, then slowly entered it inside her mouth and began to suck him off. She began bobbing her head along with the movement of her hand, all in a steady motion. He felt his climax approaching but held it back. Kushina wrapped her tongue around his cock, moaning as she sucked him off. She stopped sucking but continued to keep stroking him off at a steady pace. Naruto grew a smirk as he got up and flipped Kushina over. He then took her shirt off, showing him that she had no bra on. Naruto smirked at how perfect her breasts are. These are the perfect size. I know those are D cups without a doubt, and they feel soft and smooth. Her ass is another plus, so she just has the perfect body, honestly. Minato, you are a fool, Naruto thought. Naruto waited no time as he began kissed her breast with light pecks. He sucked lightly on each spot he kissed, leaving small hickeys. Kushina moaned softly as Naruto moved down to her nipples and sucked on one while playing with other. She moaned louder and pressed his head more into her chest. She moaned louder and pressed his head more into her chest as he sucked harder. Sachi, you're sucking ass. If you're trying to milk me, Kushina moaned out. They continued like that for a couple more minutes until Naruto let go. She then straddled him, pulled him up to her and wrapped her legs and arms around him and kissed him slowly and sensually. He kissed her back and opened his mouth for her tongue to enter. Kushina explored his mouth as she was so caught up in the kiss that she didn't even notice that Naruto had slightly lifted her up and slid her down on top of his cock. She gasped at the feeling of him sliding into her. She let out loud moans as Naruto groaned lightly. He thrusted inside of her, treasuring the feeling of how tight she was. Damn you tight, Kushina, Naruto said, still thrusting inside of her. Yeah, Ami and Minato don't have sex because of his Hokage duties, Kushina said, moaning out. Well then let me help you with that, Naruto said as he started thrusting inside her faster. Kushina moved her hips with his thrust to make it easier for him. The entire room was filled with flesh clapping together and very loud moaning. Soon their climax reached their peaks, but both held it back as much as they could. Naruto even increased the pace of his thrust to make Kushina go wild, which she did. A couple of minutes later they both released their climaxes in unison. They both panted heavily. Wow, so this is what real sex feel like. You're so much better than Minato, she said, looking at Naruto. Well then let's go again, he said, as he smashed their lips together. The only sounds that could be heard were the sounds of flesh clapping together the entire night. Time skip morning, Kushina POV. Kushina stirred for a bit from her slumber as she felt something warm. She blinked a few times before slowly opening her eyes and looked around the room. For some reason, she was strangely in the guest room. She felt a pang in the lower half of her body and winced a bit as she felt her legs a bit sore and decided to remove the bed sheets from herself. She removed the sheets from her body and found that she was completely naked. Kushina was confused to why she was in the guest bedroom instead of the master bedroom and looked to the other side of the bed to see a mop of messy blonde hair. Kushina was about to respond until the person on the other side of the bed spoke up. Naruto, POV, erg. What the hell happened last night? Said Naruto, messaging the temples of his head as he slowly got up, revealing that his upper half shirt was missing and a weight on his chest. Naruto noticed the long vibrant red hair to his side and looked on top of himself to see a shocked and blushing Kushina. And in a rush Naruto regained the memories from everything that happened the night before. In the real world Naruto was looking to Kushina with an impassive face, meanwhile on the inside Naruto was grinning like a madman. Holy shit, I just banged my mother. Does that make me a motherfucker? Well. Screw it, thought Naruto with a huge grin as he turned his head back to Kushina, who was blushing like a schoolgirl. Regular POV. Kushina-chan, what are you doing in my bed? Naruto said, smiling, seeing the blushing Kushina. Naruto-kun, wait, this isn't what it looks like. Kushina said, pulling the sheets back over her body, with her face turning the same color as her hair. Oh, and what does it looks like? Naruto said in a teasing manner. Kushina couldn't say anything as she looked down, her tears threatening to come out. Please forgive me, Naruto, I don't know what came over myself, it just have been so long since me and Minato have. Well, you know, I couldn't help myself, Yakno, Kushina said, tears welling up at the corner of her eyes. Forgive me, Naruto, but she was cut off as a soft pair of lips met with her own. She stared at Naruto with wide eyes before relaxing into the kiss and wrapping her arms around Naruto's neck, bringing him closer on top of her. Naruto broke away and stared into her amethyst-colored eyes. I really hate when boatful women cry, Yakno, Naruto said with a small chuckle, seeing Kushina's face grow a huge blush on her face. Kushina wiped her tears away and stared at Naruto with a little hope that she still had left. So does that mean that you are going to return to us, Naruto-kun? We can still be a family, Kushina said almost pleadingly. Naruto could only let out a sigh. I'm sorry, Kushina-chan, but I cannot, Naruto said, seeing Kushina lower her head in response. But, Naruto said, making Kushina's head shoot up and looked into his deep azure-colored eyes. I maybe could give you a chance if you show me that you've changed, Kushina, Naruto said, making Kushina tear up and tackled him on the bed with a big hug, repeating thank you over and over. Sigh, I guess I should tell her then, Naruto thought as he cupped Kushina's chin softly and raised her head to meet his. Kushina-chan, there's something that you should know, Naruto said, making Kushina twist her head in confusion. Well, the thing is that I'm technically not your your son anymore, Naruto said sheepishly, rubbing the back of his head, his eyes finding the floor very interesting. Kushina's eyes went wide. What? When? And how? Kushina yelled in shock and confusion, mostly shock, looking at Naruto. Haha, laughed Naruto nervously. Well, you see, what happened was when. Flashback, Ragnarok. Stated Naruto with his hair shadowing his eyes. Do you really think that I'm going in that goddamn lake? Then you got another thing coming. Exclaimed Naruto, who was pointing to the massive lake in front of him. Silas and Cub, this is the divine lake to draw out a person's true potential. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will happen as long as you don't stay in the divine lake for too long. It will only take at least 12 hours at max. As long as you keep your focus and meditate, nothing will happen. I will get you out in exactly 12 hours and nothing more, nothing less, I swear it on my dragon's pride. Said Ragnarok as he looked Naruto directly in his eyes, who in return couldn't find a single eye. Sigh. Fine, just don't keep me in here too long, I want to return back to my training, said Naruto as he slowly entered the lake, which started to gather around his body like a twister. And now, we wait. Thought Ragnarok, but before he could get put down, a dragon appeared before him. Lord Ragnarok, the council has been assembled and we need you in the room, said a deep crimson red dragon. 12 hours really is long, it shouldn't take that much time I guess, though Ragnarok before nodding to the red dragon and flew off to the council room. Oh boy, how he was wrong. Time skipped 24 hours later. You bastard, yelled an extremely pissed off Naruto, whose body was entirely pink, even his hair. Now listen, Narf, dahahaha. Ragnarok couldn't hold it anymore as he burst out roaring with laughter. Do you think this is funny, asshole? My entire body is pink for Kami's sake. I look like a goddamn princess. Screamed Naruto. Hearing the other dragons laughing in the background, Naruto turned to the dragons with a menacing glare. Keep laughing and I am going to roast you all alive. This, however, didn't calm them down. The laughter started to get intense, with them on the floor clutching their side from laughing too hard, with Ragnarok being the leader. That's it, Naruto said as he went through the hand signs, making their laughter cease and their eyes wide. Run, shouted a dragon as they all flapped their wings and got away as far as they could. Fire style. Fenwick's flower jutsu. Shouted Naruto as 200 fireballs tried to hit the flying dragons, but in the end, they all got away. Damn it, almost had them, mumbled Naruto before looking back to Ragnarok with a heated glare. When does it end, growled out Naruto with gritted teeth. Ragnarok only rolled his eyes and responded. In about a week or so, don't get so overdramatic, Princess, Ragnarok said while walking away. Ahhhhhh. Screamed Naruto at the top of his lungs into the sky. Flashback high. And that's how it changed my DNA, Naruto said. Kushina throughout the entire story couldn't help but just giggle. Do you also think that was funny? Naruto said with a small pout. No, Kushina said with her hand over her mouth, not looking towards Naruto, but the shaking of her shoulders clearly gave her away. Naruto in return grew a devious smirk. Hey Kushi-chan, Naruto said as she looked up. She was cut off as Naruto gave her a passionate kiss on her lips, which she melted into for a couple of minutes. Naruto suddenly pulled away and started putting kisses on her neck that led a trail to her stomach. Do you want it, Kushina? Naruto said in a sultry tone. Kushina was torn between yes or no for a bit, but finally gave in. Yes, Naruto, moaned Kushina. Naruto's smirk grew wider. Okay then, Naruto responded. I'm skipbecuous, I don't care. After an intense battle of sex, Kushina made her way downstairs with a small imp and Naruto taking a very hot shower. Naruto made his way downstairs only to meet his former family at the dining table, with Tsunade and Jiraiya sitting on the right, Naruto and Narumi sitting at the end, Minato sitting at the very top, and Kushina inside of the kitchen bringing breakfast. Naruto sat the furthest away from everybody, with Naruto and Narumi making attempts to talk to him, which to Naruto just ignoring them. Minato looked over to Naruto with a sad expression and was about to try to talking to his son, but he was interrupted by Kushina. Breakfast is ready, said Kushina in an unsully cheerful tone. Kushina made her way to the table with a slight limp, which didn't go unnoticed by everyone. Minato saw this and spoke up, worried about his wife. Kushina, is something the matter with your leg? Asked Minato. Everyone looked to Kushina, who internally had a huge blush on her face, but managed to push her blush down and quickly came up with a lie. Oh yeah, I sorta hit my hip when I was making breakfast, she said with a nervous laugh, but at the corner of her eye, she saw a smirking Naruto. Yeah, you maybe wanna get that checked out by mom, next time be more careful, said Minato, chuckling a bit while Tsuade narrowed her eyes a little, but shrugged it off. Everyone then turned their attention to Naruto, who looked back to them and spoke. What? Said Naruto in a neutral expression, making everyone turn their heads back to their breakfast. Another small time skip. After an awkward breakfast, Naruto headed towards the door only to get stopped by a hand as he turned to the person. Yes, Tsunade-sama? Asked Naruto, making her frown a little. Okay, listen, here, I know that you did something to your mother, Tsunade said, glaring at her unknown former grandson. Naruto eyebrows raised and looked to her with a "Are you an idiot" look. "Whatever do you mean, Tsunade-sama?" asked Naruto with a small smile on his face, making Tsunade gain a tick mark and pinning him to the wall. "Listen here, you little brat. I know that you did something to your mother, now explain." Tsunade said, her anger getting the best of her. Even though the situation was bad, Naruto just kept that same innocent smile, making Tsunade get more enraged as she was reached her fist back to punch Naruto, but Naruto only said one word. "Amenete Jakara." As he switched places with Tsunade pinning her to the wall, which she tried to get out of but found herself stuck with Naruto pinning her with that same smile. Tsunade sneered at him, still trying to wiggle her way out, but soon gave up and stick to glaring at Naruto. "So what hell are you going to do now, you bastard? Beat me like you did your mother?" Tsunade said, sneering at Naruto. Naruto only chuckled and shook his head no. "Something even better," he responded. "Then what the hell, Arkansas?" She was cut off as she felt her lips being captured by Naruto. Tsunade's eyes went wide for a moment as she tried to force Naruto, but to no avail. They stayed like that for a few minutes until Tsunade gave in and melted into the kiss with full force. Naruto broke apart with Tsunade glaring at him with a huge blush on her face. "Do you want more, Tsunade-sama?" Naruto said, whispering in her ear. A massive blush spread across Tsunade's face as she started to stutter. Tsunade said as her blush came full force and scowled at Naruto, but didn't say anything. "Oh, if that's all, then see ya," Naruto said as he let her go and walked to the door once again, only to get stopped by Tsunade again. "Wait." Tsunade said, making Naruto stop and turn to face her. "Yes." Naruto said, seeing Tsunade rub her inner thighs together. "I want you," Tsunade said, looking anywhere but Naruto. "Come again," said Naruto, smirking. "I want you, damn it." Tsunade yelled, rushing towards Naruto, enveloping him in a deep kiss. After a couple more minutes, Naruto broke apart the kiss and stared at Tsunade's honey-colored eyes and smiled. Naruto then got close and whispered into her ear. "I'll be back, Tsunade-hime," Naruto whispered and disappeared in a wall of blue fire. Tsunade only sat there in a daze, her mind racing at 100 miles per hour. Does that count as cheating on Jiraiya? He is never that passionate or that intimate. In all fact, when was the last time we had sex? Though Tsunade a bit frustrated. Speaking of Jiraiya, he just entered where Tsunade was. "Hey Tsunade, did something happen? Your face is beet red," asked Jiraiya, oblivious to his wife blush. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya a bit before responding. "Nothing," she said as she suited up and walked past him rather coldly. "Oh, okay then," Jiraiya responded. Jiraiya as he pulled out his notebook, giggling like a little schoolgirl and disappearing in a poof of smoke. "Time skip academy." Naruto, who was walking toward the classroom, suddenly heard voice shouting and sounds of laughter from the inside. "Ahahahaha," laughed most of the boys. "Shut the hell up, it was a bet," growled a familiar voice. "Yay. Leave Kiba-kun alone," shouted a screeching pink-haired banshee. "I troublesome." "Atlas, put some socks on," said a lazy voice. Everyone was soon brought out of their thoughts as the classroom door opened and walked in none other than Naruto. "Yo," Naruto said with a lazy wave and his other hand in his pocket, making most of the girls have stars in their eyes and the boys have a look of jealousy. As Naruto was walking, he noticed a certain girl who he met the other day looking at him in curiosity and a small blush on her cheeks before she twisted her head away, not meeting his gaze anymore. Naruto looked over to the girl who was sorting a blush and took in her appearance. Satsuki is a fair-skinned girl of average height with an athletic yet curvaceous build. She has coal black eyes and waist-length black hair in a Heim-style cut that goes down to her back length, with short bangs and chin-length strands framing her face. She has a black forehead protector and wears her village's form-fitting Kunoichi uniform. It is black-colored, with a blue skirt around her waist. Naruto walked up to the empty seat beside Satsuki. "Is there someone sitting here?" asked Naruto. "HMPH, no," Satsuki responded, crossing her arms. "Then may I sit here?" asked Naruto politely. "Do whatever you want," Satsuki responded, making Naruto smile and take a seat. "So we haven't been formally introduced, Boatful. My name is Naruto Strife," Naruto said, with a genuine smile, making Satsuki blush, and slowly reached out her hand to shake his. "TCH, my name is Satsuki Uchiha, and don't you forget it," she responded, quickly turning her head back around, not letting Naruto see her blush, but unfortunately Naruto saw this and smirked, deciding to tease her. "Hey Satsuki, you wouldn't be blushing, would you?" Naruto said, getting closer to her. "What, you balk at him not doing anything?" exclaimed a flustered Satsuki, her face becoming red. "Then why is your face red?" asked Naruto, a smirk appearing on his face. Was the only response Satsuki could give, but gave up and decided to glare at Naruto, but in truth, the blush on her face wasn't helping at all. Meanwhile, everyone who was in the classroom was shocked as hell. The so-called Ice Princess actually talking to someone and blushing of all things. Many of the boys started to glare at Naruto, while the new Naruto fan club glared at Satsuki, but the angriest of them all was Kiba, who at this point was now boiling. "You?" Kiba said, standing up, pointing to Naruto, as Naruto looked down to Kiba and resumed his teasing with Satsuki. Hello, I am talking to you, blonde asshole. Kiba yelled, his index finger pointing to Naruto. Oh, yo dog breath nice weather we're having, eh? Naruto said nonchalantly, getting a laughs from everyone and a cute giggle from Satsuki. Listen. I am going to fuck, but he was cut off by Naruto. Listen, I don't think you know this, but I sorta don't swing that way, sorry, said Naruto. No, I stated Kiba, only to get interrupted by Naruto once again. And again, why in the name of Kami are you here in your undergarments? We are shinobi, for Kami's sake. No, are you a pervert or something? Do you get off on these sort of things? Naruto said as everyone burst into laughter. You made me do this, you bastard. Hey, I never said to class or the village, you could have even walked around, you bedrew or something. Akiba started but couldn't find anything to say. Sighed Dumbus, now sit down. Iruka-san is about to walk in, and after he said that, right on cue, Iruka walked in with Naruto and Naruto following in the back. Alright class, settle down. I looks at Kiba. What the hell are you wearing? Shouted Iruka. Silence was all that ranged out in the classroom until the most shocking thing that they all have seen maybe in their entire lives. Satsuki was the first one to break out into laughter. Slowly the rest followed. Naruto only sweat dropped. What the hell did I get myself into, thought Naruto as he focused back to Iruka. Small time skip, AN. I don't know which teams are 1 to 6, so yeah. Just gonna start with Team 7. Team 7 will be a special team with be a 4-man squad and 2 senseis, stated Iruka as everyone turned their attention towards him. Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Satsuki Uchiha, and every boy and girl tensed up at this moment, especially a half-naked boy with a small puppy on his head. Naruto strife, Iruka called out, seeing everyone deflate. Fuck my life, thought Naruto as he sighed. Yes, Ani-chan is on our team. Thought 2 redhead girls, A-chan, looks like the blonde idiot is on my team, this should be interesting, Satsuki thought with a small smirk. Your senseis will be under ... Kakashi Hatake and Kishino Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Iruka said. Yak, know what, on second thought, this might not be that, but Naruto thought. What, shouted Kiba, settle down Kibbles, you don't want to go around biting anyone, no offense Akamaru. Raref. None taken, Akamaru yipped. Kiba only growled at Naruto in response. Now Team 8 will consist of Shino Aburm, Kiba Inuyasaka and Hinata Hyuga under Kurina Yuhi. Kiba looked back to see Hinata, who was staring at Naruto with a slight blush. Oh hell no. Thought Kiba. Team 9 is still in movement. Team 10 will be another 4-man squad, which will consist of Choji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Sakura Haruno. Your Genin senseis will be here shortly. Once again, I'm very proud of you all. Please be careful in the near future. And with that, Iruka bowed and left the classroom. It didn't take very long for the Jonins to come and enter the room. The door slid back, showing a fair-skinned woman of slender build. She has long black untamed hair reaching her upper back and very unique eyes that are red in color with an additional ring in them. She is wearing makeup consisting of red lipstick and purple eyeshadow. Her regular outfit consists of a red mesh armor blouse with only the right sleeve visible. Her hands and upper thighs are also wrapped in bandages, and she wears the Konoha and regular shinobi sandals. Kurenai entered the room and immediately got all of the males' attention, much to the jealousy from all of the girls. Teammate, you're with me, Kurenai said as they all got up and walked to their new sensei. At the corner of her eye, Kurenai spotted the blonde who was looking at her intently. She got a full look at him and slightly blushed, so she decided to tease him a little just for the hell of it. Is there something you need? Asked Kurenai, looked towards Naruto. Naruto just kept his eyes roaming Kurenai and spoke up. Silly me, I'm sorry, but you are so beautiful, it's like staring at an angel itself, Naruto said with a charming smile, causing her to blush even harder. Okay, there's no way in hell this is gonna happen, Kiba said as he grabbed Kurenai by the wrist along with the rest of Team 8 and walked outside the door. What the hell was that, Satsuki said, her tone slightly angry. Satsuki, Naruto said as he grabbed her hand, she is beautiful and all, but you are even more beautiful, Naruto said as he kissed her hand softly, making her gain a massive blush. Aka. Satsuki yelled and snatched her hand away from him, her face bearing a crimson red. Suddenly the door opened and entered a tall man with brown eyes, olive skin, short black spiky hair, and a beard. His clothing consisted of the standard Konoha ninja uniform with the sleeves rolled up halfway, regular shinobi sandals, and he also wore a sash that had the kanji for fire marked on it around his waist, a pair of black bangles, and bandages wrapped around the arms of his sleeves. This was none other than Asuma Sarutobi. Alright Team 10, you're with me, Asuma said as he took a puff of his cigarette as the team quickly made their way down the stairs, but not before Sakura sent Naruto one last glare, who was before leaving the classroom. Slowly, but one by one, the Jonin senseis entered, taking their teams. Time skip 1 hour later. Where the hell is he? Shouted an enraged Naruto, along with Narumi nodding in agreement and secretly taking glances at their brother. But right after she said that, the door suddenly slammed open, revealing a pist of Kushina dragging a tall man with gravity-defying silver hair, wearing a black ninja veil that covers his left eye like a sack of potatoes. This man was no one other than Kakashi Hatake, aka Kakashi of the Sharingan. "Mom!" shouted both twins in unison, humping up and down. Kushina anger vanished and chuckled at her kid's antics. She suddenly looked at the top row to see Naruto, who winked at her, making her blush a bit. Kushina cleared her voice and spoke up. "Alright everyone, meet me on the rooftop." "Hi." The three girls said as they all walked down the stairs, making their way to the door. Narumi stopped and looked back to see her older brother jump out of the window. Narumi's eyes went wide and screamed. "AHH. Ani-chan!" Narumi screamed, rushing out of the room, leaving the two girls into curiosity until they looked back to see the window open and an empty room. Both of their eyes widened as they rushed out of the room following Narumi. Slam. The door burst open with three frantically pale-looking girls who looked like they just seen a ghost. "Mom!" "Ani-chan, window, jump, gone," said Narumi and Naruto, waving their hands around hysterically in a frantic motion. Narumi, calm down and tell me what happened," said Kakashi in a stern manner. Tears immediately came to Naruto and Narumi's eyes as Narumi explained what she saw, and their eyes went wide. "He did what? Where is he?" Kushina asked with worry in her voice. Calm down, a familiar voice, as they all turned their attention to the top of the building to see Naruto with small dragons playing around his body. Imagine Naruto with small dragons around him. They all let out a breath of relief. Kakashi narrowed his eyes at Naruto. "Strange. I couldn't sense his presence at all," Kakashi thought, but shook those thoughts off for now. "Naruto, come down." Naruto shrugged and disappeared in a blur, shocking the hell out of them. He reappeared in front of them all with a small wave. "Yo," Naruto said, and everyone's sweat dropped. "Okay, with that out of the way, Tomato," he said, pointing to Naruto. "Introduce yourself," Kakashi said with a smile. "What did you call me?" Naruto said, her hair flowing similar to her mother. "Nothing," Kakashi responded quickly. "How about I go first?" Kakashi said as they all nodded. "I'm Kakashi Hatake. The things I like are, you're not old enough. The things I hate are, really none of your business. My dream for the future, never really thought about it. My hobbies," he let out a perverted giggle. "Only thing he told us was his name," was the thought of the three girls. "So I guess I'll do it," said Kushina as she spoke up. "My name is Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. My likes are my family and a certain blonde," looking to Naruto. "My dislikes are people who hurt my family, perverts, and people who can't tell a kunai from a scroll. My hobbies are cooking, training and eating ramen. My dreams for the future are to see my children become great shinobi." Kakashi nodded and pointed back to Naruto. "Now you angry tomato," Kakashi said, making her grit her teeth in anger. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. My likes are my family and my friends. My dislikes are bad guys, perverts, and anyone who tries to hurt my family. My hobbies are training, eating ramen, shopping and hanging out with my friends. My dreams from the future are to become Hokage and marry a certain person." Look towards Naruto. Kakashi nodded. "Now you Cherry," Kakashi said, pointing to her, making her scowl. "My name is Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze Senju. My likes are my family and my friends. My dislikes are bad guys, perverts and anyone who attacks my family. My hobbies are training, eating ramen, training, and hanging out with friends. My dreams are to become Hokage and marry a certain person." Looking towards Naruto. "Alright, you're up, sunshine," Kakashi said, gesturing his hand to Satsuki. My name is Satsuki Uchiha. My likes are my mother, training with brother, and a handful of people in my clan. My dislikes are perverts, arrogant people, and snobs. My hobbies are training and sleeping. My dreams are to become clan head and surpass my brother." "The dream, you're next, Blondie," he said to Naruto, who looked up from his book. Kakashi one eye went wide. "Naruto. Is that what I think it is?" Kakashi said, stooping back a bit. Naruto smirked. "Why, yes it is, the only copy that's out in the elemental nations. It's a Paradise Island 3 limited edition. Must have book," thought Kakashi, eyeing his book. "Ahem." Kushina interrupted. "Oh yeah, Gamensai Kushina. Alright Naruto, give us your likes, dislikes, hobbies and dream for the future." Naruto looked up and closed his book. "Alright. My name is Naruto Hatake," making Kakashi eyebrow twitch. "My likes are boatful women, training, my sword and riding dragons. My dislikes are villains, people who are against me, arrogant pricks, and people who abuses kids." Kushina looked down. "My hobbies are training, having sex and poker. My dreams for the future are to have sex with at least 1,000 different women around the elemental countries." Naruto finished. Silence. Until. The four girls screamed despite the match blushes on their face, while Kakashi was just giggling like a pervert and gave Naruto the biggest thumbs up that he could manage. "You are now my favorite student," Kakashi said with tears falling out of his eye. A thought then came across Narumi's mind as her eyes widened. "Wait, did you say dragons?" yelled Narumi as the other two genins realized what he said earlier. "Yeah," said Naruto like it was an everyday thing. "How?" was the thought of the three genins. Alright my cute little students, you are not technically genin yet, so meet us up at training ground 7 in 30 minutes Jana. And with that Kakashi and Kushina disappeared in a poof of smoke. Naruto stood up. Well, you heard the man, see ya in 30, Naruto said with a lazy wave and disappeared in a stream of lighting. Whoa, that was so cool. Did you see that? Asked Naruto, still a bit in shock of what transpired. Yeah, Ani-chan is awesome, said Narumi. Hey-chan, let's go, we have to be there in 30 minutes, said Satsuki walking out of the roof. Wait up Satsuki, said Naruto with Narumi following behind her. Minus 30 minutes later. Alrighty my cute little students, you have 30 minutes to get these 3 bells off of me and Kushina. The person who don't get the bell will be going back to the academy. Got it? As they all felt a bit bad, but nodded. Okay, then begin. Kakashi said as 3 of the 4 vanished into the forest. The only male of the 4 stood there reading his little book. Naruto, aren't you gonna hide? Asked Kakashi as Naruto looked up from his book and said something that made Kakashi swell with pride. Huh, did you say something, Kakashi? Tears immediately came to Kakashi's eyes once again as he looked up high into the sky, letting a single tear drop from his uncovered eye. Dad, I finally found the Ana, thought Kakashi. So, can I have a bell? I'll trade you, Naruto asked, bringing Kakashi out of his shock. What possibly can you trade me so that you will have a bell? Kakashi asked, a bit intrigued to the blonde's proposal. Naruto reached in his pouch, putting Kakashi on his guard, and brought out something that he couldn't resist. Itcha paradise to the naughty Pantahus. Kakashi's single eye almost bulged out from his socket as he stood there unmoving, staring at the book as if he saw a ghost. So? Naruto started with a smirk. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal, Kakashi, Naruto said with a smirk as he saw Kakashi's single eye follow Naruto book like it was a support lifeline. Must resist. I must resist. Kakashi mentally thought, having an internal turmoil as one thought was collapsing over the other, trying to pick a side. Kakashi then had an idea in his mind that will surely piss off his sensei's son, but it was for the best, he thought as he pulled out the 3 bells. Okay Naruto, you win, it's a fair trade, right? Now hand over the book and I will hand over all of the bells, Kakashi said with an eye smile, making Naruto give one of his fox smiles. Kakashi couldn't help but thinking that something was wrong with this deal, but shook those thoughts off. Alright, you throw the bells first, and I will throw the book next, Naruto said with a closed-eye smile. Kakashi shrugged and threw the 3 bells towards Naruto, which he caught and stared at the bells before grinning like a madman, and threw the book towards Kakashi, who grabbed it and put it into the back of his pouch. Kakashi gave another eye smile towards Naruto and spoke. Lesson 1, Naruto. On the battlefield, never trust your enemies, Kai. Kakashi said as the bells in Naruto's hands turned poof leaves. That was a dirty move, and you know it, Kakashi, Naruto said, frowning a bit, but unbeknownst to Kakashi, that the book that Naruto traded with contained one of Kakashi's worst nightmare. When you're on a battlefield, never trust anymore except your comrades, said Kakashi as he was about to open his book, ignoring the sly smirk that came from Naruto. As Kakashi opened the book, a few tears came from his eyes. My sweet book that I love so much, come to me, my beloved. Kakashi shouted as mentally and pulled down his mask so that it would be burned into his retina, but as soon as he opened the book, his worst fears came to his heart. His itcha wasn't there, instead it was a marriage between him and Guy. "Ooh," screamed Kakashi comically, as his voice could be heard around all of the elemental nations. After a couple minutes of Kakashi vomiting and swearing, he got to his feet and regained himself, all the while narrowed his one eye and covering the other toward Naruto, who was on the ground rolling with laughter. "Naruto, do you think that was funny? I had my Sharingan activated for Kami's sake," shouted Kakashi, getting even more angry hearing his sensei's wife roaring with uncontrollable laughter. My Kakashi, I didn't expect that you would actually fall for the oldest trick in the book," Naruto said, chuckling, seeing Kakashi with literal steam coming from his head. "So are you ready to start our little battle now?" Naruto said as he stared at Kakashi with amusement dancing in his eyes. "So alright, Naruto, let's begin," said Kakashi as he pulled out 2 kunai and held one of them in each. Kakashi then rushed towards Naruto, a kunai in each hand. He closed the distance faster than a Chunin-level ninja could see, slashing the kunai at the blonde. Naruto responded back by smirking and leaning back until his back almost touched the ground, showing off his extremely flexible skills. Naruto then caught one of Kakashi's legs and then slammed him into the ground, making a few cracks appear where Kakashi had met. Naruto looked down and heard a poof. Suddenly Naruto had to spin around and block a kick that was aiming towards his chest that sent him sailing back a couple of feet. "So you decided to use your Sharingan, huh, sensei?" said Naruto with a smirk as he stared at Kakashi, who only gave him an eye smile in return. "Well, since I'm going against a person such as yourself, then I better take you seriously," said Kakashi as he got back into his fighting stance. Naruto let out a dangerous smile and charged at Kakashi with blinding speed, catching him off guard. Kakashi suddenly had to duck a kick that almost took his head clean off as he looked back to see Naruto with a bloodthirsty grin and 3 broken trees with a huge fist mark that were inside of them. Holy shit. Thought everyone who was looking at the match. Damn it, there is no way in hell that he is an actual genin, but where did he get all of this strength from? Thought Kakashi, narrowing his eyes at Naruto. Deciding to test something, Kakashi went through hand signs, but Naruto only made one and landed on dragon. Haten. Great dragon fire technique. Naruto then opened his mouth and shot a massive dragon towards Kakashi, shocking the hell out of him and everyone who was watching the fight. Naruto jutsu just cleared out half of the portion of the forest, completely evaporating anything in its path. Naruto looked through the forest for Kakashi, only to not see anyone. He took a deep breath to calm down and closing his eyes, letting his senses do the work, waiting for the slightest disturbance in the area. Naruto's eyes snapped open as he looked 45 degrees to the right, and with even looking he louched a kunai towards the sound and heard a thump that was nailed to the tree. He heard a poof. Naruto had to quickly jump back in order to avoid Kakashi rooting out from the ground with an uppercut that was made to take his head off. As he kicked Kakashi, sending him in the air and went through hand signs. Wine style. Great breakthrough, said Naruto as the Justu hit Kakashi dead on impact. Poof. And surrender, Naruto, Kakashi said, his voice getting serious. Why would I surrender when things are getting good? Well, it's about time I get serious, Naruto said with a bloodthirsty smile. Wait, he wasn't serious, they all thought. That's wrong, don't get scared now, Hadouken, said Naruto as his smile grew sinister and his voice becoming more deeper. Naruto dashed towards Kakashi, his speed on full display. Kakashi barely had enough time to block the flying punch that sent him crashing into the forest behind him. Kakashi got up shakily, but at the corner of his eye he saw Naruto coming towards him, but before he could even blink, Naruto was already there, his fist logged in his gut, making him spit out saliva and sent him crashing through more trees. But pant the hell pant, I'm an elite jonin pant, but he doesn't even look winded. Thought Kakashi, who was staring at Naruto in disbelief. Mon Kaka-sensei, get off your ass and come on, said Naruto, making go Kakashi pale. POV change. What the hell is even happening anymore, thought Satsuki in a defeated tone as she stared at Naruto, who was literally beating the shit out of their new sensei. Fuck, my ribs, thought Satsuki as she covered her brussied ribs with her hand, with her other leaning on the tree for support. Damn it, sensei, you hit like a fucking dump truck, Satsuki thought before a hand was placed on her shoulder making her jump. Beep, said Satsuki as she jumped like a cat before turning her attention to Naruto, who had a smirk on his face. Wow, never thought that I would hear a great Ichihape. Before Naruto, exclaimed Naruto, making her blush red. Shut up, Baka, said Satsuki, her blush becoming more red. How are you even here when you're out there? Satsuki said, pointing to another Naruto who was tossing Kakashi around like a ragdoll, who in return was screaming like a girl. Oh, I'm just a clone, Naruto said casually as he walked towards her and picking her up bridal style, making her blush even more. Hang on tight, Naruto said as they both disappeared in a blur. Scene change. Narumi, we have to find Ani-chan and Satsuki, said Naruko as she and her sister are currently hiding in the bush from their mother. No need, a voice said that came from behind them, startling them as the twins looked back to see Naruto. Ani-chan, the two redheads said in unison. Yo, Naruto said with a lazy wave. How are you here when you are fighting Kakashi-sensei? Said Narumi as she could hear Kakashi pleas for mercy and Naruto insane laughter. I'm a clone, now let's go, I already know the real meaning to the bell test, Naruto said, leaving them confused. What real meaning, asked Naruko as she stared at Naruto confused. I'll explain it later, now grab onto me, Naruto said as they did and left in a shunshin. Back with Kakashi and Naruto. Please Naruto, you win, just please don't do what you are about to do, I beg you, shouted Kakashi as he was on his knees on the ground and literal tears were coming from his eyes. Give me the bells, the actual bells this time, Kakashi, said Naruto, who was holding a lighter over Kakashi. Icha paradise. But Kakashi said, trying to reason only for Naruto to move the lighter closer towards the novel. Fine, grumbled Kakashi as he tossed two of the bells towards Naruto and Naruto tossed the books towards Kakashi. My precious, you're back, Kakashi shouted, but as soon as he opened it, in the book was none other than a naked Mito guy as Kakashi passed out on the scene. Little did Naruto know, after this event Kakashi was traumatized for life. So, I guess Kushina has the last other one, this will be fun, Naruto said, licking his lips and disappearing in lightning. Scene change. Now where did those little brats run off to? Said Kushina, who was holding a wooden sword. She was then cut off as she felt something took her waist as she snapped her head around, thinking that it was one of her daughters, only to looking into the eyes of Naruto. So Kushi-chan, how about you hand over those bells? If not, then, said Naruto in a seductive tone, reaching down and slipped his hands into her panties and squeezed her ass, making her moan. Naruto-kun, not now, whispered Kushina, trying to keep her voice down, but was failing. "What is Ikushi Haim, you like it when I touch up here don't you?" Naruto said in a sultry tone as he snaked his other hand into her bra and cupped one of her breasts in his hands and started to play with them, making her moans get louder until he stopped, making her look back at him confused. "Thanks for the bell Kushi-chan," Naruto said, and before she could respond he neck chopped her, efficiently knocking her out. "Time skip, ah." Kakashi screamed as he jerked up from his dream in a cold sweat. "Whew. Thank Kami that was just a dream, a horrible, horrible dream that should not have existed," Kakashi thought before turning over and was about to go back to sleep until he was staring into the eyes of his worst nightmare that almost made his heart stop. "Hello my youthful rival, it seems that we haven't had enough sex yet, how about another round?" "Oh, the power of youth," said Guy, who was looking into Kakashi's eyes. "And hey la," shouted Kakashi from the top of his lungs until he suddenly heard laughter from training ground as he looked at Guy, who smirked and poofed in a cloud of smoke. Kakashi eyebrows raised as he looked in front of him only to see a laughing Naruto along with the rest of his newly formed team giggling. "So do we pass Kakashi?" asked a grinning Naruto who was looking towards him with an amused smirk. "Sigh, yes, you guys pass, welcome to Team 7, said Kakashi with a eye smile. "Alright, Jana," Naruto said as he poofed in a plume of smoke. "Wait for us," said the three girls as they all ran to find Naruto. "So Kushina, how did he get the bells from you?" asked a curious Kakashi who was confused to see an uninjured Kushina. "Well he snuck up behind me and knocked me out," said Kushina, quickly hoping Kakashi wouldn't catch onto her. Kakashi watched her closely for a while but shrugged it off as nothing. "Well then, we'd better report to Minato," Kushina said as she disappeared in a poof of smoke. "How strong are you really, Naruto?" thought Kakashi as he put his hands in a ram seal and poofed away also. "Time skip." Minato sat behind his desk, as per usual. Jiraiya stood to his left and Tsunade to his right. Before him were the Jonin selected to lead Genin teams from the graduation class. Among them were many of the strongest Jonin that Konoha had to offer. Asuma Sarutobi, son of their Hokage and the captain of the newest generation, Ino Shikacho plus Akira. He was a former member of the Guardian 12, but had to come to Konoha back after his service under the daimyo. Next to him was Kurana Yuhi, the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha. She is currently the captain of Team 8, consisting of Kiba Inuzaka Shinoburm and Hinata Hyuga. The last Jonins in line was his wife and former student, Kushina and Kakashi, who is in charge of Team 7, which consists of Narumi Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze Senju, Satsuki Uchiha, and last, but not least, his son Naruto Strife. All of them wore their traditional shinobi attire. His former student at the end of his report on his new Genin left them all speechless. "So, you're saying that one of your newly formed Genin bribed you for an Icha paradise, went toe-to-toe with one of my strongest Jonin without breaking a sweat, and finally knocked you unconscious with a picture of my undressed Jonin?" asked Minato slowly as he finally looked up to the sheepish Kakashi. "Ahaha, well when you say it like that then, yes," said Kakashi with an embarrassed blush. The Jonin, minus Kakashi and Kushina, all laughed, while Kakashi seemed more annoyed than anything. "I don't know why any of you are laughing," Kakashi said, shutting everyone up. "It took him 10 minutes to defeat me. Well, it wouldn't take him half the time for him to kick all of your asses," Kakashi retorted, pissing them all off, but before any of them could say anything they were silenced by the Hokage. "Achem." Minato cleared his throat, getting their attention. "Well," Minato said, looking at his former student, "since you are here, go ahead and do your report on Team 7. Kakashi gave a slight nod to Kushina, who then took a step in front of the rest of the Jonin. She looked at Minato with a proud smile. The start, Satsuki Uchiha, Naruko and Narumi are all amazing Kunoichis, their bloodline runs strong in their veins. Satsuki can sling destructive ninjutsu like it's second nature to her, and if you get anywhere to Naruko, her chakra chains can wrap around and immobilize your body in a cinch. Same goes for Narumi. Also, when her and Narumi work together, they are at least around high to mid Chunin level." Kushina finished with a proud smile on her face. Minato only nodded with a proud look on his face as he turned back to Kakashi. "Alright Kakashi, could you describe Naruto and your fight again?" asked Minato, looking towards Kakashi, who only sighed and nodded. Kakashi started, then took a moment to think about their fight. "Well, for starters, he found out about meaning of the bell test almost instantly. He made a shadow clone and sent it out to find the three girls so that they could work together after realizing they couldn't find Kushina-san alone." Kakashi looked around the room, taking note of how closely Kushina was listening. "When we started fighting, he used multiple justice faster than I could even track." Kakashi shifted his gaze towards Minato. "He used those jutsus perfectly, no obvious holes in his technique. He even shattered those chakra-enhanced kunai that I was using." Everyone jaw dropped and then murmurs started to go around the room for those present, but they silenced when Kakashi started to talk again. "I then separated from him and activated my Sharingan, deciding to get serious and attack him from a distance." Kakashi let out a low chuckle. "That was when shit hit the fan," Kakashi said as he unconsciously rubbed his bruised rib, making him wince. But before anyone could react or say anything, Kakashi continued his report. I started going through the signs for fireball jutsu, but Naruto made one hand sign that was dragon and let out a huge dragon head shaped attack that could easily be a air and kaiten jutsu and took out a big chunk of the training ground. At this, many of the jonins erupted into grumbles about prodigy under our nose and hidden prodigies. Asuma was the only one to speak out. You mean to tell me that a soul genin used a dangerous jutsu that could be labeled as a kinjutsu? Asuma asked skeptical. He used it perfectly, Asuma, Kakashi said, deadly serious. It was unlike any other kaiten jutsu I have ever seen, Kakashi stated, making everyone jaw drop in awe. The fire technique, huh? I have to make him teach it to the girls. After all, they are the childs of prophecy. He should be honored to teach it to his sisters, Jiraiya thought. And you, Kushina? Minato asked in curiosity, making her sport a small blush which didn't went unnoticed by Tsunade. Well, when I was distracted, Naruto suddenly appeared from behind me, which I tried to fight, but in a quick burst of speed, he knocked me out and took the bell. Kushina finished, making Minato nod. So on a scale, Kakashi, how strong do you think Naruto is? Asked Minato, who was looking towards his former student with complete seriousness. Sensei, on a scale I would rate Naruto as low to mid on Bu, but in all honesty I don't think that was the true extent of his power, Kakashi replied, as the entire room was so silent, you could hear a needle drop. Kakashi once again started to speak, breaking the silence. To put it bluntly, Naruto kicked my ass, the famed copy ninja said nervously. He moved too fast for me to even react and threw me around the clearing like I was some sort of pinball. His punches were as hard as Guy when he opened the sixth gate, if not even harder. Everyone was too stunned to speak. He landed a combo on me that fractured most of my bones, arms and legs in the process. Add to the kicks and punches that I took to my jaw and chest. I'm lucky to be in one piece after that, Kakashi said, thinking about how brutal the attacks that he received from his future student. This baffled everyone in the room as they found this hard to believe from the copy ninja. I am more than willing to get Inoichi in here and let him confirm everything I am telling you, Kakashi said. That won't be necessary, I trust you. Minato looked over at the other jonin, as the rest should. The jonin all looked away, ashamed at their actions. Kakashi Hatake, I recommend for Team 7 is that you put us on active duty as soon as I am released from the hospital. Kakashi stood straight up as he completed his recommendation. After all, it would be a waste to have the four to just sit around all day doing D ranks and dulling their abilities. Minato was shocked at the suggestion, as there have never been genin team that didn't do at least a few weeks of D rank missions before heading out on their first real mission. All of the jonin stared at him in shock. If a genin team messed up on a mission, it would be very likely that lives would have been lost. Are you sure about this, Kakashi? Asked Minato, who seemed a bit hesitant, but he trusted Kakashi with all of his might. I've never been more serious in my life, Kakashi said, dead serious. Naruto has the potential to be known as the strongest of his generation. He is a prodigy that we cannot afford to hold back any longer, said Kakashi, with the utmost serious as he has ever been since Anbu. Minato took a moment to think before he let out a sigh. Fine, we will do this your way, Kakashi, Minato said as he stood up and looked at all of his jonin. I will begin preparing D ranks for all of your teams, with the exception of Team 7. When the rest of you think your teams are ready, come talk to me about C rank missions. Hi, Hokage-sama, they all responded. Dismissed. All of the jonin made their way out, except Kakashi and Kushina, who stayed back. Guys, I think we need to talk about Naruto. Previously, fine, we will do this your way, Kakashi, Minato said as he stood up and looked at all of his jonin. I will begin preparing D ranks for all of your teams, with the exception of Team 7. When the rest of you think your teams are ready, come talk to me about C rank missions. Hi, Hokage-sama, they all responded. Dismissed. All of the jonin made their way out, except Kakashi and Kushina, who stayed back. Guys, I think we need to talk about Naruto. Now, time skip night, Konoha Forest. Naruto was walking towards the Yuzu-sen Nami compound, as he was a bit winded after the training that he just did. He suddenly felt the air shifting into his direction and let out a small smirk before he had to dodge. As a chakra-enhanced fist almost connected to his face, blowing everything back in IT path. The figure jumped down towards Naruto with a pissed-off expression, as if glaring at the blonde with such furiosity that it will set him on fire. The said figure looked around the field hoping to catch the blonde and strangle him. Suddenly the figure heard chuckling that came from behind of a large tree. The figure wasted no time as the person rushed towards Naruto with enhanced punch, aiming for his head to blow it off. Naruto only laughed in return, which surprised the person greatly. The punch connected with Naruto's stomach, sending him sailing through the air and crashing into multiple trees. The figure smirked as she finally got one up over the blonde-haired Casanova. Her eyes suddenly snapped open. But it was already too late as she received a kick from Naruto that blew her away, sending her flying through the training ground and into the woods. She shakily rose to her feet and stumbled a bit. She immediately put her arms up into a blocking position because she felt something coming in fast. Naruto shot through the air like a bullet. as the woman didn't know what was even going on anymore. One minute he was over there and the next minute he was right there. Naruto suddenly dropped from the sky like a falcon and drop-kicked the woman in her guard, throwing her back with pure strength alone, as the woman flew towards a tree and crashed through it to the next. Naruto slowly made his way over to the woman, standing in front of her. This woman was well known in this village as the former student of the Sandaime Hokage, the granddaughter of the first Hokage, grandniece of the second Hokage, wife of the legendary Toad Sage, mother of the fourth Hokage, and one of the legendary Sannin. This woman was no other than Tsunade Senju. So if I ask why is the legendary Tsunade Senju attacking little Almi, asked Naruto in a playful tone, making the woman growl in anger. DCH. So what are you gonna do now, brat? It's not like you could kill me, said Tsunade with a scoff as Naruto kept that same innocent smile on his face like last time, making her even more angry. You know that I could easily kill you with one finger, but I rather do what I previously planned on doing, said Naruto with a smirk as she gave him a smirk of her own. Oh yeah, and what is th? But she was cut off as Naruto smashed his lips onto her, making her eyes widen. Tsunade tried to grab Naruto, only for her hand to be grabbed by his and spread it behind her head in a dot. After 5 minutes of a hot and steamy makeout session, Naruto broke apart the kiss, which left Tsunade feeling like the warmth had been taken away from her. So pant, how did pant that make you feel, said Naruto, panting with a sultry grin edict on his face. Screw pant you, responded Tsunade with a crimson red blush on her face and a look that had heart in her eyes. Okay fine, then I'll leave, Naruto said with an inside smirk, getting up, but before he could even move, he felt her hand grab his shirt. She started to hesitate. Damn. Why is it so hard all of a sudden? I'm sorry Jiraiya, Tsunade thought solemnly. I want. Naruto looked on with confusion. You want what? Asked Naruto. I want you, damn it. She shouted, but then realized what she said and covered her mouth with her hands. Huh, you want me? Asked Naruto, who on the outside was teasing her by playing the innocent card, but on the inside he was crackling like a mad scientist. Otagakure, Achu sneezed, a pale-skinned man with long black hair and golden-colored eyes with slits. Gokuku, well it seems that Somian is trying to steal my funk. They will never win. Myahahaha. Cough cough grrrr. Kabuto, bring me those young boys, or you're gonna get it next, shouted the snake-like man, to which the glasses kid eyes widened and ran out of the room. Back with Naruto. Is this really what you want? Asked Naruto, showing sincerely kindness, which surprised her for a moment. Yes, she stammered out, making Naruto grin. Hold on tight, Naruto said as he wrapped his arms around her waist and shunshined her out of the clearing. Namikaze Estate Lemon. Naruto and Tsunade suddenly appeared in Naruto room, both of them having a rather hot and steamy makeout session. Naruto picked up Tsunade and gently put her on the bed, their lips still connected. Naruto broke apart the kiss and grinning and giving the kunoichi one last hot kiss to distract her. Naruto then forcefully broke off and began trailing nips and nibbles down her jawline and neck, leaving little love bites here and there, while also stopping to chew at the tender spot on her neck. His combination of attacks drew a series of soft moans from Samui. The older woman could only squirm and run her hands over his back with need as the male blonde went for all of her sweet spots. When he moved lower, her hands tangled in his spiky hair and massaged his scalp in encouragement, telling him he was doing well. That was quite the compliment for Tsunade, who had a reputation of being underappreciated. Eventually Naruto reached the blonde's chest, where he spent a couple of moments marveling at their amazing shape and size. Estimating them to be an easy F cup, maybe even a G, the once captivated young male then kissed the space between them before grabbing the two mounds with both hands. From there he proceeded to knead and roll them between his palms with enthusiasm and intent. After testing their texture, he then leaned in and captured one of her hard pink nipples between his lips and proceeded to suckle on it while his thumb and finger toyed with the other. His actions elicited a series of loud moans from Tsunade, who, in an effort to feel more of these amazing sensations, arched her back into his talented mouth and hands. Her pleasured mewling caused Naruto to intensify his actions, the scent of her arousal and increased moans only serving to make him harder. The roughness of the boy pawing and suckling on her breasts had Tsuneade gasp, Naruto-kun, oh, more. Give me more. When he alternated from her left breast to her right, the kunoichi gave a shriek of delight and cried out even more. Yes. Oh, just like that. Oh. After massaging the kunoichi's chest to satisfaction and through a great deal of effort, Naruto detached himself from her mounds and snaked further down her gorgeous body, being sure to kiss his way across her taut stomach and stopping to lick around her belly button, drawing even more moans of delight from his partner. He then arrived at her entrance, the heat of his breath against her causing the kunoichi to tremble with anticipation. Naruto took both her legs in his hands and kissed along the inner thighs, upon which he then dove in. Tsunade's back pretty much arched like a bow when she felt Naruto's mouth pressed to her nether regions as he proceeded to lick and chew around her folds. Gasping as he ate her out, the blonde woman gripped the sheets of the futon when the boy's tongue dove into her and began exploring her cavern. Oh. Oh, yes, Naruto-kun. Oh. Right there, her body then jolted when she suddenly felt him insert his fingers, causing her to cry out a little louder. Yes. Ah. Fuck. That's it. As her head was tossed back and eyes shut, the woman then reached down with her hands and gripped the boy's head, pushing him in further and silently begging him for more. Even all of her times with Jiraiya, he couldn't be compared to the sensations Naruto was now stirring in her. Glancing up to see Tsunade's back arched and her pleading eyes fixed upon him, the male blonde grinned and doubled his efforts, pushing 2 fingers in, while his tongue went to work on her clit. The act of which drew a cry of pleasure from the kunoichi, who could only writhe in place, as the teen pushed her closer and closer to the brink of insanity. Naruto suddenly stopped with a sultry grin. Now I think it's time I returned the favor. Naruto could only grin. He had to be 10 inches, or maybe it looked huger up close. The width of it was also incredible. The size of it actually made Tsunade wonder how he was able to hide all of that in the tight boxers that he sported. He wasn't as hard then. She theorized. Snapping out of her trance, Samui retaliated with a seductive smile. Jiraiya is nothing compared to him, Tsunade whispered. You said something? Asked Naruto. Nothing, she responded slowly, reaching up. She then reached up and tentatively gripped his tool in her hand, silently marveling at how she was unable to wrap her fingers completely around him. From there she started to stroke him from base to head, drawing a low moan from her partner as she began working him to full length. Unable to hold him with one hand, the kunoichi had to cup his base with her right, while her left worked his shaft and massaged the head. Licking her lips when she felt the man pulsing in her grip, Tsunade then leant forward and, after planting a kiss against the underside, proceeded to lick around the crown and tip. Being sure to drag her tongue up and down the sides, at the same time using her grip for support, she then moved back to the top before taking the head of his cock into her mouth. Naruto groaned loudly when he felt the kunoichi's hot, moist entrance envelop his dick, his head rearing back as Tsunade began sucking him while her hand worked his base. Oh, Tsunadehan. That feels great. Oh. When she started bobbing her head up and down on his shaft and the motions of her hand intensified, the blonde male had to do his best to refrain from bucking into the kunoichi's moist cavern. However, from the way she was now vigorously sucking and massaging him, it was making his job of holding back all the more impossible. Usually, anyone who called her that deserved death. But tonight was queer enough to let it slide. Looking down at Tsunade to see the kunoichi glance up at him, her full lips stretched around his incredible girth, the young blonde panted and gripped the sheets tightly when he saw her move. Oh, keep going, yes. Suck it. Usually, anyone younger than her ordering her around deserved death. But then again, tonight was queer enough to let it slide. At his request, Tsunade then loosened up her mouth and, dropping down, took as much of Naruto in as she could, deep-throating him. The act of which drew a louder groan from the blonde, who attempted to thrust up into the kunoichi to feel more of this incredible sensation, before she moved back up and repeated the action. For another minute, Tsunade continued to pleasure the young man with her mouth, his manly scent filling her senses and his taste coaxing her to continue. Eventually, with some reluctance, she removed herself from his dick, causing a groan of disappointment to leave Naruto. Her detachment didn't last for long, however, as the kunoichi then moved up and enveloped his dick in her enormous breasts, where she squeezed them together and began to move. I'll have all the kun you have in there. Hissing when he felt the pressure from her actions flood into him, the teen nodded, yes. It feels amazing, Tsunade. He then groaned when the kunoichi increased the speed of her movements, pushing her boobs together and running them up and down his long shaft. It'll get even better, the Sannin replied, before dipping her head down and taking the head of his cock into her mouth. As she sucked, she stroked him with her breasts, sending bolts of pleasure shooting through his body as his grip on the sheets tightened. Soon enough, the combined attack caused a familiar sensation to build in the base of Naruto's core, who panted as he felt himself reaching his end. Eventually he couldn't hash it anymore, and the Jinchuriki cried out. "Tsunade-chan, I'm coming," he warned. When she heard this, Tsunade removed her breasts from around him, gripped the base of his cock, and went down on him with her mouth. A few quick strokes and a moan from the kunoichi sent Naruto over the edge, and, with a loud groan of pleasure, he exploded into her mouth. Long ropes of semen flooded the kunoichi's mouth, who did her best to swallow everything that she could. Eventually Naruto's cock finished throbbing and, after slurping up the last of his load, Tsunade peered up at him. She giggled when she saw the sweating, exhausted look on his face. "I can tell you really enjoyed that." Gulping in the air, Naruto chuckled back, "Yeah. That was great, Tsunade-chan." Smiling, the kunoichi then crawled around and repositioned herself on the futon, crossing her knees over as she leaned back on her hands. She then followed up by giving the Jinchuriki the most inviting look that she could. "Come on, Naruto-kun. You won't want to keep me waiting." Responding in kind, the spiky-haired Jinchuriki crawled over to her and, taking her knees, pulled them apart. Though she made it harder for him by deliberately keeping them together, Naruto eventually succeeded and positioned himself between her thighs. "Oh, I won't," he whispered as he leaned over and gazed into her honey-born eyes. When she smiled back, he shifted forward and gave her a deep, passionate kiss, during which he pressed the tip of his cock at her entrance, before deftly flicking it downwards, and pushed. Tsunade cried out into Naruto's mouth when she felt his enormous length enter her, stretching her anus and causing her to wrap her arms and legs around him tightly. Detaching himself from her lips when he felt her seize up, the blonde boy watched her as she buried her face into his neck, waiting for a moment as the pain of her first time faded and she got used to his presence. "What are you, some kind of daredevil?" she remarked, panting. To think he'd enter her ass, without her permission. He merely grinned. Eventually the Kunoichi then looked up and smiled at the boy, her legs dropping from his hips back to the futon. "Okay, I'm good. You can start moving now." Acknowledging this, Naruto then went into action, his hips rocking in and out of the Kunoichi in deep fluid strokes, causing the Kunoichi to claw at his back and moan loudly in pleasure. The sensations the blonde stirred within Tsunade were unlike anything she'd ever experienced before, her inside stretching as she felt the boy's shaft rub against her inner walls. As his movements increased in speed and strength, waves of ecstasy began washing through the Kunoichi, and soon Tsunade's low moans were transforming into cries of delight as Naruto started pushing her into the futon. "Naruto-kun. Oh, yes. More. Give me more," Tsunade gasped as the boy moved in and out of her. She felt him respond by reaching down, grabbing her ass and leg, and lifting her off the floor, where he then leaned over and began plunging into her from a new angle. This action caused the blonde Kunoichi to let out a cry of joy as she gripped hold of the boy even harder as she felt the tip of his cock hit the back of her rectum and send even more bolts of pleasure shooting through her. "Ah. Yes. Ah. Ah. Oh Kami, you're so big. Fuck." Grunting as he felt the Kunoichi respond to his touch, Naruto continued his pace for the next couple of minutes before eventually deciding to go for the new old spot. Rolling over so that he was on his back, he repositioned Tsunade on top so that the Kunoichi was now straddling his waist. Panting and groaning when she felt Naruto fill her even more, the blonde Kunoichi beamed down at him, beneath her and placed her hands on his chest. Feeling his powerful muscles ripple beneath her fingertips, she then began to move, rocking her hips back and forth teasingly. After which she then moved up his shaft and plunged back down on him, an action that she repeated over and over again. During which time Naruto shifted his grip to her ass cheeks, aiding her motions as he started thrusting up to meet her. Their movements quickly became synchronized. When Tsunade lifted her hips, Naruto would pull back before thrusting into her tight cavern when she dropped down, impaling the Kunoichi right up to his hilt. Growing more confident, the blonde dragon summoner quickened his pace as a chorus of wolfish grunts left his lips. At the same time the Kunoichi's moans grew more frequent and higher in pitch when she felt her lover push deep inside of her, each plunge bringing her closer and closer to a mind-blowing climax. "Ah, yes. Naruto-kun. Yes. Ah. Ah. More. Harder." Tsunade gasped and almost cried out when Naruto, complying with her demand, upped his tempo and power. Feeling secure in his grasp, the Kunoichi removed her hands from the man's chest and reached up to grab and fondle her bouncing breasts. She roughly massaged the soft flesh and rolled the nipples between her thumbs and forefingers. "Ooh, oh, yeah. Harder. Fuck me harder. So tight," Naruto groaned, absolutely loving the feeling of being inside Tsunade as his hips snapped in and out of her and his hands tightened around the Kunoichi's full ass. It felt so good to be inside of her, so hot and tight, and he could feel her fleshy walls rippling around his shaft, molding to his every entry and clenching down from the pleasure he was stirring inside her. To the blonde-haired shinobi, every bit about Tsunade was just intoxicating. He loved her gorgeous smile, her hot-headedness and fiery personality, the way she would do anything for her family, her honey chocolate-colored eyes, her blonde hair, her long neck, and her incredible body that seemed to respond to his every touch. Her chest, her waist, her hips, her long legs, her ass, they were all perfect. He just couldn't get enough of her. Looking at her long, light blonde hair dance in passionate tandem, he felt shocked that smoking hot Kunoichi hadn't even brought him to think of her a second time. Mesmerized by the sight of the woman's large bouncing breasts, Naruto reached up, pushed Tsunade's hands out of the way, and began groping them in her place. Roughly rolling and massaging her mounds in time with their hip movements, Naruto groaned and set a fierce rhythm. The act of which caused Tsunade to throw her head back and cry out even louder. "Maybe it's Beku, she's so damn bossy," he reasoned. "But she sure was a pleasure to fuck. Ah. Ah. Yes. Naruto-kun. So good. Oh, don't stop. Don't stop." Tsunade cried out as the boy continued working his cock in and out of her pussy. When he sat up and ran his hands from her chest back down to her hips, the kunoichi gazed desperately into his eyes as the pleasure from his ministration shot through her, making her heart race and her body hot. Not that their love-making wasn't already doing that. As he moved, Swan could see and feel his hot muscles moving with her, working her into a frenzy and turning her on even more. The pleasure Naruto's actions was giving her caused a familiar, wonderful pressure to build up inside of her, and she desperately began trying to reach it. Naruto sensed it too, and started focusing all of his efforts on getting her there. After making out with the boy as she wantonly bounced and ground against him, the kunoichi then pulled away and cried out in pleasure. OHH. Yes. Naruto-kun. Yes. AAHH. I'm gonna coom. Uo. I'm gonna fucking coom. Picking up speed as she felt herself drawing closer and closer to her limit, Sun then felt Naruto grip her hips and push her down on one last descent. This seemed to do the trick as Samui wrapped her arms around the boy and cried out in ecstasy, Uo, fuck. Yes. The kunoichi's entire body tensed up and her inner walls spasmed around Naruto's cock, drenching him in her fluids. Naruto helped her ride out her orgasm by wrapping his arms around her and holding her steady. When her body went limp moments later, he felt her ample chest press against his as she took in deep, ragged breaths, her face red with ecstasy and sweat dripping down her skin. Nibbling on the side of Sun's neck, up her jaw and to her ear, Naruto smirked and then whispered to her. Want to keep going? The kunoichi chuckled at the boy's question, don't try to belittle me, kid. Reluctantly removing herself from his lap and cock and crawling over the futon, Tsunade then positioned herself on her hands and knees. When she did, she then looked back at the boy and swayed her ass side by side enticingly. Come and get me, Naruto-kun. Unable to resist, Naruto went right up to the smiling kunoichi and, seizing her hips and getting into position, plunged right back into her pussy from behind. Tsunade gave a shriek of surprise and delight when she felt the blonde enter her right up to the hilt, her back arching and head flinging up. Overwhelmed by a surge of pleasure, the blonde then gripped the futon sheets beneath her as she felt Naruto pull out to his tip and drive right back into her, an action that he repeated and set a furious tempo. Fuck. Yes. I love it. Right there. Naruto-kun. Right there. Tsunade cried out, feeling Naruto pounding her with great vigor. She naturally wanted all his cum for herself, that was obvious by the way she was reacting, mouth agape and a chorus of pleasured moans and shrieks leaving her lips. Hell, she was enjoying herself so much that she scarcely noticed her volume was reaching a dangerously high level. Oh. Yes. Yes. So deep. Naruto-kun. More. Fuck me more. It was midnight and people would be trying to sleep. But she didn't care. Oh, and she had a date with Uraya today, but not that she cared. He always stood her up to go peep on other women. Hammering her with near reckless abandon, Naruto panted and groaned as his hip snapped back and forth into her in a primal collision of flesh. With each thrust he poured his pent-up lust into her body, and she would grind her succulent bottom back against his pelvis in a wanton frenzy. Turned on by the sounds of the woman's shrieks and moans, Naruto focused all of his attention on giving the last the bout of a lifetime, his pace increasing and filling the room with the erotic sounds of their lovemaking. With every slap of his pelvis, Naruto saw the full cheeks of Tsunade's luscious rump ripple as her body moved in time with his own. The scent of her arousal filling his nostrils, Naruto then leaned forward, molding his chest to her back, and caught her large swinging tits in his hands, which he proceeded to knead in time with his thrusts. Samui's cries of ecstasy increasing in volume, Naruto grinned and whispered into her ear, "Are you enjoying this, Swaney-chan? Don't fucking talk." She cried out in brisk response, as Naruto continued pounding her from behind, going even faster as his hands rubbing and rolling her breasts. When she felt him tweak her nipples, another louder shriek of pleasure left her. AHH. Fuck. Yes. AHH. Take me. With heavy drops of perspiration running down her body, Tsunade was in utter bliss. Every time Naruto would move, a bolt of pleasure would go shooting up her body, filling her with a hot heavenly tension and a feeling of fullness. He was taking her and dominating her, but he was also worshipping her and considering her desires at the same time. Though he was the one in control at the moment, the feelings she was receiving from him were indescribable. All she knew was that she wanted to experience more of him. Fuck. Naruto. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna cum again. Tsunade babbled, shaking her head as she felt the pressure building up inside her once more. As Naruto fucked her with long, hard and fluid strokes, and she rocked and ground against him in kind, the blonde shrieks of delight grew even louder when she felt him increase his tempo. Oh god, yes, yes. So close. Ooh, so close. She would have had a hard time believing this version of herself at any other time. And it was perhaps because this was the very first time she'd actually enjoyed sex. And boy was it wonderful. "Cum, sine haim, cum for me," Naruto said as he kept his face close to hers. When she looked at him, the kunoichi moved in and locked lips with him in a kiss. When she separated from her partner, Tsunade's cries increased along with the teen's hip movements. His shaft plunging in and out of her at a vigorous pace, the kunoichi was soon unable to hold it in anymore. "Naruto. Pant Naruto. Yes, 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 yes." Her head was then thrown back as a scream of ecstasy left her lips, her inner walls clamping down on Naruto as she came. For the next few seconds her body was cracked by convulsions, her muscles twitching before her arms eventually gave way and she collapsed into the futon, panting heavily. The moment Tsuneada fell, Naruto, shifting his grip back to her hips, continued to plunge into her at a great speed. Grunting as he helped the kunoichi ride out her orgasm, the blonde soon felt him approaching his own end. His hands tightening around the woman's firm buttocks, the teen leant forward and continued driving into the dazed woman. "I'm coming too," Naruto grunted, unable to hold himself back any longer. Inside, Tsuneada gasped, gazing up at him leaning over her with need. "Fill my insides with your cum. Please." With her approval the Jinchuriki continued to plow in and out of the exhausted kunoichi, before eventually reaching his limit. A final snap and a groan was all it took, which caused the kunoichi to get up on her hands and let out a cry of delight. Fuck. Yeez. Ooh-oh. When she felt Naruto's cum explode inside of her and fill her to the brim, the kunoichi's eyes almost rolled into the back of her head and she had to do her best to stop from passing out. Naruto could only smirk as for the remaining hours only grunts and moans could be heard. "Good think I put that silent seal up," thought Naruto. "Jiraiya, you're a fool. Ha, I guess father like son," Naruto thought with a smirk. Lemon end, Ryu. That was the absolute longest lemon I have ever wrote. Time skip 1 month later. Naruto was waiting with his teammates by the gates of the village. They had their first mission today and would be gone for a few weeks. Naruto was happy to be heading out. He loved traveling around with Ragnarok and was getting a little annoyed with Minato and Jiraiya, constantly keeping an eye on him. Ever since word got out about him defeating one of the strongest jonin in the village and destroying Training Ground 7 during his team's test, many of the villagers tried to get close to him. A few older genin tried to act all buddy-buddy with him, but only annoyed Naruto. Most of the people in his apartment complex congratulated him, some even treating him to meals or taking him out for drinks, gestures that were appreciated by the blonde, especially the women. Naruto tried to bond with the 3 girls on his team. While at first, the Uchiha heiress was a bit fascinated of the blonde, Narumi and Naruko always begged him for forgiveness, to which he just told them to give it time. Satsuki loved to talk with Naruto, especially when he was talking about his travels. Satsuki, Natsui, and Naruko had always wanted to travel the world, but their fathers were on the protective side, more for clan reasons than personal ones. Naruto and Satsuki relation have gotten better, to which his ex-sisters were getting jealous, thinking that the raven-haired Uchiha was trying to take their Ani-chan. They often spared a bit, Naruto easily beating her, but pointing out her mistakes, helping her patch up the holes in her fighting styles. When he wanted to help her with ninjutsu, he invited Neri and Naruto as well to join them. He told Narumi that it would benefit her to add some ranged ninjutsu to her arsenal, just in case she can't get close enough to use her chakra chains, and told Naruto that she couldn't always depend on the Rasengan in battle. They started seeing results almost immediately. Naruto tried to personalize their training as much as he could, which amazed the 3. Kakashi and Kushina got to see their team's newfound friendship when they would come to visit him. Most of the time it was after a training session. They would bring him some food from wherever they ate and talk with their captains about a wide range of topics. Kakashi couldn't help but notice the looks the 2 girls gave Naruto. Kakashi didn't want to bring that up quite yet, but he could tell that Naruto wasn't oblivious to their feelings either. He decided to wait for the time being, hoping that the opportunity to tease his students would arise. Naruto snapped back to reality and looked up to see his sensei walking with a drunk old man. He couldn't help but smirk at the old man as he tried his best to walk straight. "Kakashi-sensei, I'm a little surprised that you are on time today," Naruto joked, getting a chuckle from the copy ninja. "Well everyone, this is Tazuna, he is our client for this job. We will be protecting him while he builds a bridge in the land of waves." The Jonin got a nod from his team. "These are the ones in charge of keeping me alive, huh?" Tazuna said clumsily as he looked over Team 7, looked like a bunch of hormonal teenager more worried about fucking than fighting. Satsuki, Narumi, Naruko, and Kushina was already annoyed by the comment, but Naruto was the first to speak. I guess," Naruto said looking around at his team, "but if we're being honest, you look like you're more fit to fuck a cactus than build a bridge." The 3 stared at each other for a moment, then erupted into laughter. "I like you kid," Tazuna slurred. "Most women do, but sorry I don't swing that way you pervert," Naruto said with a smirk. Team 7 and Tazuna were making good time on their voyage to Wave Country. Tazuna and Naruto were harassing each other most of the trip, which was entertaining to their entire party. On more than one occasion, Tazuna offered Naruto alcohol, which Naruto accepted much to the shock of Kakashi and Kushina. Since they passed a halfway point in their trip, Naruto felt that something was off. He branched out from the party a few times to try and figure out what was going on, but he didn't find anything. As he tried to sense anything that might be out of sight in the surrounding area, he was stopped by Satsuki Naruto and Narumi. Their eyes were fixed on a pair of puddles about 25 feet in front of them. Naruto instantly understood their hesitation. Tazuna was confused. "Why are we stopping?" Tazuna said, who was sober at the moment. Satsuki looked over her shoulder, her Sharingan activated. "This is a trap," Satsuki's words were barely audible. Tazuna was more than a little skeptical of the girl. "Those are puddles," Tazuna said with a deadpan expression. Satsuki was a little annoyed by the bridge builder now. "And have we seen any rain since we left Konoha?" Tazuna's eyes widened at the Uchiha's words. Kakashi couldn't help but smirk at his team's awareness. Naruto looked at the puddles for a moment, then felt a chakra presence emanating from them. Naruto slowly reached behind his back and drew his knives. He made eye contact with Naruko, Narumi and Satsuki Dojutsu meeting cerulean blue. They gave him a quick nod, and Naruto blurred out of sight. Naruto appeared on the other side of the two puddles, his arms both raised over his head. His then whipped his arms down, throwing both knives at the two puddles. Rather than the blades sticking in the ground, there was a puff of smoke. When the smoke cleared, the blades were in the ankles of two Kiri shinobi. They let out a cry in pain, but Naruto's attack was not over. Naruto made a tiger hand sign, then lifted his open hands towards the demon brothers. Gyuden. Divine Dragon Pulse. Naruto shot out a strong gust of wind from his palms that wielded the body of a dragon that sent the demon brothers flying towards a waiting Uchiha and Namikaze. In sync, Satsuki drew a kunai and Narumi used her chakra chains. Satsuki stabbed Gozu in the heart as he flew helplessly through air. Narumi struck Maizu with one of her chains through the heart, and Naruko finished his body with a Rasengan, killing him instantly. As the demon brothers laid in a lifeless heap on the ground, Satsuki, Narumi and Naruko realized what happened. Their bodies had moved on their own, acting entirely on the shared instincts they had built with Naruto. When they looked at the corpses of their first kills, they felt sick. Kakashi and Kushina figured that they would get their first kill early, but he didn't expect his team to fight this quickly. They had only been out of the leaf for a few days. He was about to go and try to calm down his team, but Naruto beat him to it. "Look at me," Naruto said softly. The three of the girls were trembling, tears running down their faces. Naruto placed a hand on each of their shoulders. The girls looked up to see Naruto's small smile, his eyes softer than they had ever seen before. They watched with bated breath as he slowly pulled them into a hug. Their bodies tensed ever more as he held them close. "You are gonna be okay," Naruto whispered to them, his warm tone easing them a bit. "It will get easier. This doesn't make you a bad person. It is our job to protect those that can't protect themselves." Naruto pulled them closer as he finished, the warmth of his body soothing their tense figures. The three girls slowly closed their arms around him, their trembling stopped. The four sat there for a moment, the Uzumaki and Uchiha, letting out a few silent tears at the death of their innocence. Naruto eventually pulled away from them when he felt their crying stop. He looked at their beautiful faces and flashed his trademark smile. The three girls couldn't help but fluster at the sight as their sensei held back his giggles. "Now isn't this the cutest thing ever?" Kushina said gushingly, getting a flustered reaction from the girls on his team as they all separated from each other. "It is just the sweetest thing to watch you four share such a loving embrace." Naruto's face twisted into a smirk as he looked at his sensei. "It wasn't like that." The redheads raven heads yelled, a flustered Uchiha and Uzumaki Namikaze who were nodding nervously behind him. "Of course it wasn't," Kushina said playfully, "at least not yet." For the next couple hours Kakashi would occasionally harass them, but was internally grateful to Naruto for helping the three girls through their first kill. When he watched his team dispatch the two Chunin flawlessly, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. His team was working together because they wanted to, not because they had to. Their cohesion was nearly perfect. Over time they could become quite the threat if they kept down this path. Team 7 was closing in on their destination when all the shinobi felt a disturbance. Satsuki was the first to react, launching a kunai at a bush to their right. The kunai stuck the wood above a snow-white rabbit, scaring the hell out of the animal, but the exodus of the rodent didn't ease their senses at all. "So, you three felt it too?" Narumi asked as she noticed Naruto, Satsuki and Naruko still scanning the area. Before either could answer, a massive blade flew right for them. Naruto tackled Tazuna to the floor, while Satsuki, Kakashi, Kushina, Naruko and Narumi ducked down to avoid getting bisected. Naruto swung his feet to his chest in high jump form and let the blade pass safely underneath him. The blade curved upwards and sunk into a tree trunk about 5 feet above their heads. A man landed on the blade. He was tall and slender, his short, spiky brown hair sitting on top of his head, behind his Kiri forehead protector. He wore high-waisted gray pants with thin black stripes running vertically down the legs. He had white and brown camouflage stockings on his shins and forearms. Across his chest was a navy blue strap that held the massive blade he was standing on. On his feet were blue shinobi sandals. His face was covered in medical bandages, but his eyes bore into the leaf shinobi. "Zabuza Mamachi," Kakashi said, recognizing the wielder of the executioner's blade, the demon of the mist. Zabuza let out a deep chuckle that sounded almost demonic. Kakashi of the Sharingan and Kushina Uzumaki aka the Red Death Zabuza gave a quick look over the rest of the team, his eyes settling on the blonde with a large sword on his back that was standing up on a tree branch across from him. No wonder the demon brothers failed to take down the bridge builder. Zabuza let out another laugh as Kakashi raised his forehead protector, revealing his Sharingan for the world to see, and Kushina took out a crimson red blade. Kakashi was tense at the arrival of the demon of the mist. "I had my doubts after the two Chunin we faced earlier, but this definitely isn't a C-rank mission," Kakashi thought as he scanned the area, looking for potential backup. He noticed a hunter ninja and a small group of Kiri shinobi standing about 100 feet away, their eyes fixed on the Kiri shinobi. The two Chunin flawlessly, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. His team was working together because they wanted to, not because they had to. Their cohesion was nearly perfect. Over time they could become quite the threat if they kept down this path. Team 7 was closing in on their destination when all the shinobi felt a disturbance. Satsuki was the first to react, launching a kunai at a bush to their right. The kunai stuck the wood above a snow-white rabbit, scaring the hell out of the animal, but the exodus of the rodent didn't ease their senses at all. "So, you three felt it too?" Narumi asked as she noticed Naruto, Satsuki and Naruto still scanning the area. Before either could answer, a massive blade flew right for them. Hinata tackled Tazuna to the floor, while Satsuki and Kakashi ducked down to avoid getting bisected. Naruto swung his feet to his chest in high jump form and let the blade pass safely underneath him. The blade curved upwards and sunk into a tree trunk about 5 feet above their heads. A man landed on the blade. He was tall and slender, his short, spiky brown hair sitting on top of his head, behind his Kiri forehead protector. He wore high-waisted gray pants with thin black stripes running vertically down the legs. He had white and brown camouflage stockings on his shins and forearms. Across his chest was a navy blue strap that held the massive blade he was standing on. On his feet were blue shinobi sandals. His face was covered in medical bandages, but his eyes bore into the leaf shinobi. "Zabuza Mamachi," Kakashi said, recognizing the wielder of the executioner's blade, the demon of the mist. Zabuza let out a deep chuckle that sounded almost demonic. Kakashi of the Sharingan and Kushina Uzumaki aka the Red Death Zabuza gave a quick look over the rest of the team, his eyes settling on the blonde with a large sword on his back that was standing up on a tree branch across from him. No wonder the demon brothers failed to take down the bridge builder. Zabuza let out another laugh as Kakashi raised his forehead protector, revealing his Sharingan for the world to see, and Kushina took out a crimson red blade. Kakashi was tense at the arrival of the demon of the mist. "I had my doubts after the two Chunin we faced earlier, but this definitely isn't a C-rank mission," Kakashi thought as he scanned the area, looking for potential backup. He noticed a hunter ninja and a small group of Kiri shinobi standing about 100 feet away, their eyes fixed on the Kiri shinobi. "Give me the bridge builder and I will let you all live," Zabuza's tone made Narumi's, Satsuki's and Naruto's skin crawl. He had a terrifying presence that seemed to smother them. Before they could panic, Kakashi responded to the missing nin. "That's not gonna happen," Kakashi said as he slid into a fighting stance. "We are shinobi of Konoha, and we won't stand by while you or your employer hurt innocent people." Zabuza let out another sinister laugh as he jumped to the ground, pulling out his sword from the tree stump. He pointed the massive blade at the Konoha group. Tazuna hid behind the shinobi, but they were all stunned when a blur of yellow flew towards Zabuza. Naruto slammed his broadsword into Zabuza, who barely was able to block the attack. The Kiri shinobi was knocked into the air and sent bursting out into the water past the forest. "Naruto!" Satsuki yelled, "What the fuck are you doing? It's not every day that you get to fight one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist." Naruto turned back to them with a bloodthirsty smile on his face. "I plan on making the most of this opportunity." Tazuna took the opening to run away and find cover. Naruto jumped off after the demon of the mist, leaving the rest of Team 7 behind. Satsuki and Naruto were about to go after him, but were stopped when a half-dozen shinobi stopped in front of them. "Leave Zabuza to Naruto," Kakashi said as he closed his non-Sharingan eye and pulled out a kunai. "Trust your teammate." Kakashi's words steeled the girl's resolve. The copy ninja had complete faith in Naruto. He knew that no matter what, Naruto would pull out of the fight, so he just had to make sure the girls and Kushina did the same. The two parties looked at each other for a minute, each group daring the other to make a mistake. Before either party attacked, they felt an explosion of chakra coming from two sources. A massive gust of wind shot from the area Naruto and Zabuza went off to, getting everyone's attention as waves, tree branches, and rocks flew past them. Zabuza-sama, the hunter nin mumbled, feeling a familiar chakra in the distance. Zabuza shot out of the forest like a bullet. He landed about 50 feet off the shore and noticed a 3-inch cut in his sword. He then looked back towards the coast just in time to see a blonde blur barrel towards him. Zabuza barely ducked under a black-bladed sword that otherwise would have removed his head from his shoulders. He turned around to see the same blonde from the forest standing on the surface of the water, about 20 feet from him. The blonde had his large blade sitting on his right shoulder. The blade was huge, maybe 4 to 5 inches thick, but the very sight of it made Zabuza uneasy. The golden pommel seemed to shine abnormally bright, giving the sword a mythic feel. "That's a very nice blade you have there," Zabuza said, a smirk forming under his face cover. "Thank you," Naruto said, spinning the blade around nimbly, "yours is quite the sight as well." Naruto then let out a dark smirk that sent chills down Zabuza's spine. "Now, let's get wild." Naruto Uzumaki, the neglected dragon god, has finally found his place in the world. He has found a family and friends who love and accept him for who he is. He has also found a purpose in life, to protect the innocent and fight for what is right. Naruto's story is a reminder that even the most unlikely of heroes can find their way in the world. It is a story of hope, love, and redemption.